What's up, everybody?
Rock N Pod 2020.
Rock N Pod weekend. Part 2. Day 2.
Yep. Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
Well, day 2, part 1.
that's true. That is true. We're doing yeah. Aaron Camaro. This little man.
No one and only.
Thank God.
I don't think the world could handle two.
I'm telling you what. Oh, they wouldn't. They don't. Well, they don't make enough shoes for more than Aaron Camaro.
So they don't make enough glitter for it.
Hello.
Look who I see coming up.
I'm trying to find a trash can. I just finished my donuts. I got a Dunkin' Donuts bag. Oh, you got a trash bag? Awesome. Thank you.
Starting
So,
off. Hey,
Betty,
Betty, how are you? Nice
I'm
to meet
Dave,
you.
of course.
Nice
This
to
is
actually
Jessica,
meet you.
our photographer. So she's going to take some pictures and
Cool.
stuff.
Yeah,
I'll mind
yeah.
her. She's just going to be around in the
Jessica
background.
helped me take some pictures the other night.
Oh, yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Honestly, I did it,
We
and
love
then
her.
afterwards, I was like, "That was so rude of you to do. I'm so sorry."
She has taken like all of our professional band photos, all the stuff we have on our website, our posters and stuff we sell. She does all that stuff.
That's
She's amazing. She is amazing. Any particular place you want to sit? I'll let Betty sit right there.
Thank you.
We got an envelope somewhere for all that underneath there.
Are y'all doing the cameras facing them, or is this just a call?
They have a camera on the left.
Yeah.
We do? Okay, awesome.
Yeah, you guys are
So
live
we're
in
on
person.
sunglasses. We took them off.
I thought all our stores wore sunglasses. In everything, in every aspect of life, right?
Yeah.
Leather and sunglasses. You gotta have both of those.
So we take our
Hey, whatever you want, man. Whatever you want.
Just get comfortable.
That's right.
Y'all gonna be here a while. So.
Making the rounds, and then you got your own booth over there.
Yeah, yes.
All right, so we.
Big guy, I was going to say.
There we
There
go.
we go. Get them both in.
Capture us in there, okay?
Starting off Saturday, after getting to hang out with Metal Blade CEO and founder Ryan Slagle yesterday.
Awesome.
We have our first guest today. I don't think we could start the day off today with a better guest. We've got Betty Floyd and Dave Hale from our friends Valkyrie's Fire joining us this morning here at the Rock N Pod Expo 2025. Welcome.
Thank you.
For joining us. We appreciate it.
It's actually nice to finally get to talk to. I know I've talked to you before, but nice to
Yeah.
talk to Betty. I know I talked to the drummer too.
Yeah, Ryan.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm horrible with names.
It's early, too.
It's so
Our
funny.
brains
Like
aren't
I was
functioning yet.
actually talking to Ryan at first before I ever met you and thought it was you.
Oh, okay. People often mistake us because we're both like really big, gray hair. And,
I thought that was.
we look related.
Yeah. So I guess like my first thing that I noticed about you guys is like almost every member of the band has some kind of educational background in music as well. So how does that play in to make you guys more collectively as a band?
What do you think, Betty?
It plays in pretty well. I think me, Joey, and Adam have like classical backgrounds.
Right. Yeah.
Adam was band, Joey was classical guitar, I had classical vocals. So that's an interesting blend already for us. I don't know too much about their background, but classical music for me has made my voice be able to transition into this genre very easily. So it just kind of offers a wide variety of what I can do. I can sing more Broadway, I could sing more operatically if I want to, or I could belt whatever I feel I want to do, which is fantastic. That's all I wanted. And I think the same can be said for Joey and Adam. They can just live their creative juices live. And classical music and power metal are perfect together.
Oh,
And I'll say
they go hand in hand.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
they do.
And I will say this for whoever's watching, if you don't follow Betty, do yourself a favor and follow Betty. She does a lot of uploads to Instagram and stuff, and it's amazing to watch you go through your progressions and stuff, and even the different styles. It's like you never know what you're going to run into when you pull her up. Like, oh, okay, I wasn't expecting that. So it's really cool to see you. And I think that's the thing with what you guys do is you have to like kind of go into different songs of music and different styles of music to get a level of your sound. And like I said, we he's more of a power metal guy than I am, but I do think you guys have something that I don't know if I've ever heard before as far as power metal. I mean,
they got a fantastic blend because now
I think that's the thing. Is the
not
blend,
only do they have Betty and Adam singing together, so you've already got a distinct sound where you have you don't have to focus on one vocalist or the other because Betty's got her ballad that she sings and Empty, and then Adam gets up there and sings Nectar of the Gods and lets Joey flex his guitar muscles. So.
And by the way, thank you for wearing Valkyrie's fire shirt today.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that, Chris. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate the support. We love to see it. But yeah, I'll add to that as well too because it's ironic that you brought up that song because Empty was actually the audition song that she sent to us. It was an acapella track.
Okay.
And I was so impressed with it. I went right back to the band guys, to the band room and talked to the guys and I said, look, we've got to make this into a song.
Yeah.
And I talked to her and said, do you mind?
Yeah.
She was like, of course not. So it's turned into really just an amazing song. It's a perfect ballad for a symphonic power metal band. And one of the things that I appreciate about her range particularly is her flexibility to do the range that she does. Mm-hmm. Like she was saying, all the different variations of how she sings, she does it with ease. And one of the things too, she's got her own YouTube channel directly where she does music. We just started that up here pretty
It's very new.
Okay, but one of those she's got on there, she did a cover of Torium. Which the former lead singer from Nightwish.
Yeah.
Obviously, huge inspiration to both of us, mainly to her, even more so than me. I feel like she's a huge inspiration to me, Nightwish is.
Yeah.
And with her cover on that, I wrote a blog about it on our website as well, ValkyrieStar.com. You can compare the two videos between Taria singing and Betty's. So eerily similar. It's unreal. Yeah. And you got to realize, too, that Taria is a world-renowned professional classical singer, opera singer as well. And so when you take those two things and put them together, hearing her voice for the first time, I was just like, oh, I absolutely, was going to be heartbroken if she turned us down.
You brought up covers, and I want to say you guys, when we see you guys at the church, you did one of my favorite Warlock songs.
Yes,
we are.
It
was freaking awesome, dude. We got flagged for it, of course, trying to post it, but it's okay.
Yeah.
But that was dude, I was just like, my man, it's like Doro's right here in the room.
But again, bringing up the cover, that just lends credence to what we talk about with the range.
Right.
Because the funny thing was, like you said, that Empty was her audition.
Yes.
So did you have any idea what kind of music, any idea of what kind of music to put behind that?
No.
Because that's the funny thing. It starts off as a ballad.
Right.
Start off, real somber at the beginning of that song. And then add, you hit a crescendo at the end of the voice. It actually gets heavy.
It gets heavy. Yeah.
Joey gets to have the guitar solo and everything. So you had no idea as far as any building blocks for that song?
The only thing that I knew was even when I did it a cappella, I started out soft, and then I'd get a little angrier and more belty towards the end.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I knew. I was like, I don't have any idea for the music behind it, and then Joey just took it. I was amazed when they sent it to me, and it's like, that sounds amazing. Yeah, I love that. Let's do that.
And it's funny too because you were just mentioning the Doro patch cover, Warlock cover, All We Are. So in that video, which I also have on our YouTube channel, that whole song that we did, you'll hear her belting that. Just something otherworldly. And it's really cool because we all love that song. It's a classic rock and roll song.
Yeah, it's a metal anthem.
Right. And you hear her voice in that, and Adam's too, and combined in both of those. It really, no disrespect to Doro Pesh at all because we absolutely love her. But I felt like the two of them together doing that was just the next level. It was the next level.
It was a cool
like it would have been the perfect way. Like if Doro joined us to do that, it would just be like, it'd be huge.
As fast as you guys are rising, I mean, that's very much a possibility going forward. You guys are getting out there pretty fast. So, and we noticed that about a lot of bands that we interview is like they only got like one album. We interviewed a band from Italy, and they already had like, I think they jumped like 13,000 followers on Spotify by the time we set up the interview, by the time we had the interview.
Nice, nice. That's awesome.
So when we set this up, we weeks in advance, and then we're like we've had a couple of bands that kind of like blew up. I'm like, man, they're gonna blow us.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, we would love to see that for you guys
We
too.
felt like at the time with some of these interviews that we're actually lucky to land them.
right, exactly. Yeah. So it was just we just had to be in the right place at the right time, I think. So which is lucky for us because what we do is for people like bands like you guys that are trying to come up. Everybody does the kisses and all that. So we want to get bands that are coming up and
Original up and coming bands.
get in front of people because those guys, all those bands are great, but I mean they can't do it forever. So you gotta have somebody go up and fight,
Yeah.
So one thing I would want to say is I found that was unique about you guys' band is like I noticed every one of you guys have a part in writing. And as a collective, which is probably unheard of in a lot of bands, I have every member writing something. So I think that's pretty a unique thing you guys got going. Obviously, it's working for you. I mean,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. When I started this band and was looking for the band members, honestly, that was one of the things, and everything we do is collective. Like, literally, when we decided on the album name, Ascension, we did a whole voting process and narrowed it down through multiple weeks to get that. So it was like, which one's getting the next, least popular votes, we moved them on to the next round, and it was all anonymous. Joey's wife was the one who was collecting all this information from the band members, so we didn't even know, who submitted them, who was in the lead, whatever. And so everything we do is the same way. When we're writing as well, too, we're always putting in different forms of input into that, whether it be, Betty writing some music or Betty writing some lyrics or Adam doing the same thing, composing, Joey doing the same thing, because Adam and Joey compose a lot.
Yes.
And then, Brian does the same thing. He's working on a new song with Betty that is going to be on our next upcoming album later this year.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah. So, really exciting. There's a lot of things coming down the pike that some we can talk about, I guess, and some we can't.
It's kind of like, I noticed Adam's girlfriend or wife, she's in a band as well, right?
Yeah, Tiffany. So she's done some singing and stuff. I don't know if she's in a band.
I don't think she's not
Okay,
in a band.
Her sister is.
I'm
We're
actually
playing with them in July.
Yeah. I'm actually Tiffany. That's Adam's girlfriend. I'm her vocal coach. So
Nice.
There you go.
I'm a teaching her.
Perfect. Yeah.
So I guess in that sense, you've been singing, I guess, for your probably whole life, right?
Yes. I didn't really know that that's what I wanted to do until I was 14 years old, though.
Okay, that makes
I
sense.
listened to Nightwish for the first time, and I was like, wow, this is so different. It's beautiful, and yet it's so angry, too. It's like two worlds that I love, because I always loved metal, and I always loved classical music. It's like it's two worlds that I love together. Like, this is where I'm meant to be. And so I just went down the rabbit hole and just explored the symphonic metal world and found so many gems and just got addicted. And then I saved up money. My parents were poor, so they couldn't afford voice lessons. Voice lessons are expensive.
Right.
In case you don't know.
Oh yeah, sure.
Very expensive. So I saved up money and got paid for my own voice lessons, and that's where I am.
And then we found her. And
You're better than I am. 49, I still don't know what I want to do. So I mean,
Well, you
still got time.
I mean, as long as I'm alive, I got time. I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's true. I mean, like I said, this is what we like doing. But unfortunately, it's not a money-making business. So it's kind of like, hopefully, we get there one day. We'll see.
Yeah, that's where we're at almost right now.
Yeah,
We'll get there.
that's kind of our concept. When we started this, was like we'll build bands to help build us. So we kind of building each other, and that's symbiosis. Kind of what the metal community should be doing is building each other up. So.
Absolutely. We feel very fortunate too. Like you were saying, you've been talking about the different aspects of like our vocal education and our backgrounds and everything else like that. And that was one thing too. When I found Betty and my friend Adam, they both were in this symphonic power metal background to begin with. Joey was more traditional rock and metal background, Metallica and stuff like that, Iron Maiden, things like that.
You can tell the way.
Oh yeah. And in some of his styles of composing music, there's very Iron Maiden-ish sort of vibes, and then we contribute to the Nightwish and symphonic power metal vibes because those were our mentors, and Betty and I share the same taste exactly in all of our music.
It's crazy.
It's really hard.
The funny thing, I mean, you could do a hell of a lot worse than Nightwish because with the three vocalists they've had, there's technically three different eras when you have that many vocalists. But you go from you have the Nat Olson and Tarja, and then you have as far as you have three distinct vocalists, but stylistically they didn't really miss a beat. Who knows what's going to happen moving forward now that Marco's gone? So that could be a little different. So I don't know what.
Yeah, kind of talking about that recently.
Yeah, I don't really know
Marco.
Yeah, I don't really know what Thomas's idea for the band's going to be moving forward without Marco, but
hard to say. As
far as vocals, you could do a lot worse. I mean, even outside of Nightwish, you got Simone Simons, you got Charlotte Wesley. You have
So many.
Amaranth is one of our.
There's a lot out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of quality.
Yeah, Amaranth is another band that's one of our mentors. And they have three vocalists. They have a harsh male vocalist and female vocalist, and then they bring out a singer as well too. And that's very much, our inspiration too, for Betty and I. Same with Visions of Atlantis. They have a male and a female singer, and they do the same kind of setup, ironically, as we do, which is kind of funny. But yeah, we take a lot of inspiration from several different artists in that respect, while still doing our own unique thing that makes us stand out from everybody else and separates us from everybody else. Would you say? That's probably pretty accurate.
So you had when you formed the band, you already knew where you were going. Did you know it was going to be symphonic power?
Yeah.
I know you and I have talked before. At the church and I tell them how many times. I mean, you've got this Nordic Viking kind of background going on. So that was your whole thing. So
sure.
It's kind of really the not only way it was going to go, but I mean, you still had literally you kind of had a target for what you were looking for.
Yeah, very much so. There's a full wordy layout or script or topic about this on our website, on our bio. So I won't go into huge details about that, but to answer your question, yes, that's correct. I had a vision for everything on the plan. It took over 3 years to develop that vision into reality. Finding the perfect bandmates was extremely difficult, and not just in a talent department, but you saw the pictures even online last night. We love to spend time together. It's a thing. When we get together, it's we're gonna take a trip together. We're gonna go to concerts together out of state. We do all these things together. We love spending time with each other. So that was important for me. Develop a long-lasting relationship. Something that's going to stand the test of time. There's so many bands that we feel that we've seen that they kind of just fall apart because honestly, there's no real relationship other than them just get together and play music. It's got to be more business.
I feel like it's more challenging too to a band if they're having to please people because you already had that. Like you said, you already had a vision. You already had the people in place, and then if something happens on the outside, you got to go through that process all over again. Right. It kind of puts everything on hold that you were already doing. So it can get a little frustrating sometimes.
Well, I mean, chemistry and camaraderie is huge, especially when you are spending so much time together.
Right, exactly.
Because because you don't all live in DC.
Right.
I am the only one that lives in Georgia.
I talked to Joey, and he lives in Laverne. So where?
What's that?
Where are you? Because I know Joey lives in Laverne.
Yeah, I'm in Murfreesboro. Yeah, Ryan and Adam are in Nashville.
Yeah, okay. So
not too far.
Yeah, so not so far.
Yeah, we're just a suburb from Nashville.
But they just leave her in Georgia because they can hear her voice up here anyway.
Yeah, exactly. We always do. We hear her practicing down there all the time.
Well, the funny thing is, I mean, 24 down to Atlanta is not a bad.
It's
easy.
not too bad.
It's easy.
No.
Atlanta from Murfreesboro is like 3 hours.
Yeah,
We played in Atlanta. We played in Atlanta several more times this year coming up as well. We're actually playing more out of state this year than we are in
Yeah,
state.
you guys got
That's
that.
good.
Ironically, so we're doing a lot of traveling. So,
Yeah, you guys got the Chicago Festival coming up.
yeah,
Yes,
Legions of Metal is coming up
That's gonna be huge.
May 1st through the
Third.
yeah, second
May
and third,
2nd,
second and third,
So coming up quick.
yeah, and then
Yes.
so we're traveling together again, and we travel to Florida, Georgia, everywhere to play, and all stuck in the bus. So yeah,
You
like
told me
you're
the big
saying,
spot.
yeah, and Ryan's brilliant parking job we might have.
Yeah, I was like,
Oh my
what?
gosh. He about kissed the tree.
But our photographer Jessica loves being in the bus with us as well too. She's part of our family, and she's taking pictures here.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, on your guys' social media, you guys are always together.
Yeah, always. I'd say we spend all of our time together.
Yeah.
We try to honestly as much as possible.
Especially since I don't get to come up so
Right.
often. So every time I'm up here, we're just, let's do everything together, guys. Let's go.
We're like, we love Betty.
Yeah.
We gotta see her.
We gotta spend time with her.
Yeah,
And it's like a fight. Who's she gonna stay with this
right,
time?
exactly. Yeah.
I know you guys only have a short time with us, but I'd love to like sit down with you guys. Like I was telling Chris, I don't know why we haven't done this before.
Yeah, I mentioned it to Dave.
Absolutely.
And I guess maybe it's just like a timing thing or whatever, because a lot of times if I'm going on vacation, I don't try to set anything up until we get back. So,
Sure.
and I just recently did one. I know we've seen you guys back in November.
It was November.
Yeah, it was Dave's birthday, yeah. So,
Yeah.
so I know he's been to a show since then. And I was actually on vacation when he went to that show. So, Dana seems to like schedule stuff on my vacation all the time. So I told him, you got to check with me first.
And Thursday night he had to work, or he would have been. He would
Oh,
have been.
I'll over there.
We have some upcoming shows that we're going to be traveling.
Because I have a shirt
out of
today,
state.
even though I'm not wearing it.
However, I can tell you, I'll give you a little tidbit of information that hasn't been announced yet.
Okay.
We're essentially with regards to Dana, and when you would also like to do a full interview with us, we're working with Dana right now. We're going to be doing another show in August at the church in Nashville. Yeah, we're going to be headlining this.
Nice.
So if you would like to set something up even before then,
Oh, sure, yeah.
or right after that, or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, actually, I was kind of hoping we could set something up. I mean, before you guys take off.
Yeah, we definitely do that even.
We gotta talk about it. I'd actually like to get everybody.
Yeah.
Even if you guys aren't all in the same,
Oh, we can do it on Zoom.
if you're back home, like the program that we use.
Yeah, you can do it from anywhere. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, perfect.
we got like 12 people can be on at the same time.
Yeah,
So
so everyone you got their own screen, even if you're back home.
Works for me. We'd be honored.
I
We
love
really
that.
appreciate it.
Yeah, we love that. Now, one more thing before we let you guys go. You guys played the new song the other night.
Yes.
So tell us about kind of how that came about. Was Thursday night the first time you guys got to play it live?
It's not.
Yeah.
We actually.
First time in Tennessee.
Yes. The first time we played it was in Tampa, Florida.
Okay.
That is another one of Adam's babies. So he did the composition for it. He did the lyrics, pretty much everything. And Adam has this way of writing the vocal parts that I love. Like he always has a moment or multiple moments where we're not singing the same thing. Like I'm doing my own thing vocally over top of him doing his.
Yeah.
And I just love that because it's something fresh and new and different.
Well, and you're also not echoing each other's parts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not just us constantly harmonizing with each other.
right.
So yeah, that song, it's a fun song. Just like Skylark is the other one that he did.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
we
that's
kinda-
actually the other night was actually the first time I heard Scott.
Oh really?
Yeah. Well, you said it wasn't on your EP.
Yeah, it's on the EP, correct?
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm guessing the new song is something unreleased at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah, they're both of those, Skylark and Cascade, are going to be on the upcoming new album.
Is there
So
like
you
a-
get to go to a
is there
show,
like
you
a-
actually get to hear them.
Yeah.
before.
Is there like a release date for any of the singles or?
Not yet that we can discuss. Okay. We're coming.
We
General,
understand.
general timeline for new
As far as singles or the whole album?
general timeline for new album. Fall.
Probably fall. Yeah,
Okay.
yes. We're thinking that's the time.
Fall, winter.
Yeah. We're still ironing out that with the record label, but yeah, it's coming along.
Nice.
Well, I said, Eddie, Dave, thank you for your time. I know you guys got a busy schedule. I don't want to keep somebody else from picking
You're
your
all
brain.
good.
So.
All good.
But I'd love to sit down and do this again, and more of a more of a long-term setting. So,
Yeah.
even a collective. If
Yeah, we
could-
really
yeah,
appreciate
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a few times we've had whole bands on there, so it's always good to hear perspectives from each members.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. And yeah, if you guys get a chance to, I'll add this as well. Anybody that's listening, definitely come into the show.
Yeah.
Hearing the music online, well, we greatly appreciate that. And you can buy our CDs on our website. You can also buy all our merch at the shows. Seeing our performance live is something else. And I'm sure you can attest to that, Chris. We are, I mean, we're a family up there on stage. We have fun. And it really shows through the passion and just the whole thing about our music.
I mean, and you won't find too many more infectious smiles than Joey's.
I know, right?
Right.
It's just
Yes.
permanently
Yeah.
there.
He like sleeps and he
Smiles.
Oh, yeah,
He
yeah,
does.
yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
He wakes up in the morning instantly smiling. He's
Yeah.
like,
Well, the funny thing was,
He's always walking around here smiling.
He probably is.
Yeah, he is.
Well, the funny thing was, he was like, he posted something online where he was in his car and he was
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
he was promoting, he was
Yes.
promoting the show.
Yeah, right.
He was smiling the whole time while he was driving. I'm like,
We
this guy's never not
smiling
smiling.
around town. And then between that and Ryan cracking jokes all the time, dad jokes, so we're constantly laughing.
Yeah, I was talking with Ryan the other night. Along the side stage there,
Yeah.
on the stage. So I got to talk to him the other day.
he's a funny guy.
Yeah. But I just get to sit back and enjoy it all, and watch it all, and smile like a pro Pablo, really.
Right, yeah.
I've got
Yeah.
the most wonderful band in the world. I'll put that up against any other band.
There you go, man.
I'm very, very proud of the accomplishment we've done. And I really feel like it's going to lead to a very successful future for our band.
I can see
Because it really comes through in our shows, it comes through in our music videos, it comes through in everything that we do together as a band. I'm deeply appreciative for that. I love it. We just have so much fun. That's why I encourage everyone just to come out to those shows. I think you'll really enjoy it.
Like I said, y'all came a long way in a short time.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Probably a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so.
Too. Yep.
Hopefully we'll see you guys on stage accepting a Grammy or something like that.
Hey, we'd be honored. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I know I said one more thing, but this just
That's okay.
you guys are so fun about the band. What is
We would.
if you could pick one.
Well, if we could pick a symphony to follow us around.
Symphony to play with.
Wow. Well, I mean, I guess if it's already a pre-made symphony, maybe the London Symphony Orchestra, I guess, maybe, or the Austrian Symphony Orchestra.
That's tough.
Yeah, that was tough. I would work with Betty and a hand pick our people. I would think.
Yeah, but like if you could if you could do like an S&M symphony tower.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, probably London or Austria, I think, would be our symphony. If I had to.
Just remember, we asked you that question when y'all do this 10 years down the road.
Oh, yes.
Set it on the calendar 10 years from now.
Go ahead and set that up for us and then just let us know.
Yeah, just let you know.
Yeah, right.
Go
Hey,
ahead and
man,
let us know. Go ahead and let us know. We'll get ready.
April the 23rd.
Yeah, before you're there about it. It's on the record label. We got to go on tour.
10 years from now, when you're about 4 LPs deep.
Yeah.
There you go. Right? There you go. Yep. Yeah. So right now it's just on backing tracks. But, is what it is.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, and
Another question.
Not really a question, just a quick comment. The way you guys start the show with Joey doing Ride and Valkyries on guitar,
Oh,
he
yeah.
plays that.
It's epic, isn't it?
It's so good.
Yeah. And then he comes in and heavy and just hits you
So
in the face.
does. It really sets the bar high. I like it.
Yeah, that was ironically right after he joined the band. I told him, what we were doing. And I gave him some lyrics and everything else that I had been writing because I write all the time on my phone, on my iPad, paper, napkin, or restaurant. And so I'd given him a bunch of ideas and stuff, song titles, lyrics, everything else. And he came back to me within 3 days, 4 days, something like that, and had 4 songs already composed based off of what I had written. He was like, Ride of the Valkyrie, based on some of the stuff that you had given me, I want to do this. And I was like, okay. And I listened to it, blown away.
Yeah.
Instantaneously. And the other one was The Maiden, which I really liked. And I wrote the lyrics for that as well. But it's just, I wrote the lyrics to Ride of the Valkyrie. Sorry. But I wrote some lyrics for the main. That music though that he put together for it, it's just iconic, and I love it. And the same went with Empty, like he put together Empty, when I was like, we got to do this song that she submitted. And it was perfect, absolutely perfect. And I'm glad we've forever gotten to immortalize her audition song. I just feel like that's super appropriate. And then Neck of the Gods was Adam's baby as well.
You can tell he loves to sing that song.
Oh yeah,
You can absolutely tell.
power metal is his background, strict power metal, and it's everywhere in that song. It's his standpoint.
The chorus is fantastic.
Yeah, and then Warrior of the Night, which for sure, that was my baby as well too, and that was one of the ones that Joey came back with as well, or the 4 originals
Right.
that he had the music for. So those things fell together, and we keep doing it. We like submit things to each other, and next thing you know, we got a whole song ready to go. We've got 23, 24 songs right now.
I don't know why that. Yeah, I don't know why. That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, and our other one just came out in November. Yeah, so we're another 24 songs deep. We constantly write.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
They need to put out an EP and an album the same year.
Yeah, exactly. And then another double album with all of that. Concept album. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you come up with something that's like so good and you want to put it out on something, I mean, you want to get it out there. So you don't want to sit on it for like years and years and years. You want to get it out, like, because the way music changes. You want to get it out while you think it's hot. You know what I mean? It's like I said, it's all about timing with music, of course. And it's like if you miss that, like we can go back to the grunge era where people coming in the late '80s, bands coming in the late '80s were great. They called it in like that clip of grunge and got left behind because and that's unfortunate because they were great bands. But so you got to always make sure you got that stuff out there. I think like one of the things we were talking about with one band is like we talked to Every Mother's Nightmare here 2 years ago. It was like, what's the longevity? Because they've been out since the '80s.
Oh yeah.
He's like, man, I just keep writing.
Too.
Yeah. He's like, I just keep writing, dude.
You
Like,
just gotta be in front of people.
sure, because like 5-6 years now without writing stuff, you're gonna be forgotten about.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like Metallica even said that. He's like, yeah, we can't wait another 8 years because first off, we're old. Right. Second of all, people are not going to forget about Metallica, but they're going to be like, where are you going to write? Like,
And for lesser known bands, just like you said, if you're not constantly going,
because you're trying to win.
then in my opinion, you're falling back.
Yeah. Even bands like Trivium, even though we think Trivium's a big band, they're not as big as everybody thinks they are.
Right.
And that's why they put out the album after album those 2 years in a row, because he's like, hey, I got all this stuff together. Let's get it out there because we're touring for 2 to 3 years already. We got set up. We got to have new material to take with us. So.
For some bands I've seen in my life, just kind of really paying attention to the details. Some bands it's a real struggle for them to write.
Right.
Fortunately for us, it's really not.
So far, so good.
Yeah, so far so good. Yeah, we're constantly sending each other emails and text messages about new music.
I think having the option to put 30 songs and have the option to pick what you want to put on a record is probably a very good thing to have. So, instead of trying to say, what do we want to do to fill this record?
Sure. Well, the funny thing is like the stuff that you guys sing about, you have a huge pool of inspiration.
Right.
So that helps.
It does.
Oh yeah.
Because like I don't know if you know who Sabaton is.
Oh yeah.
We
know who Sabaton is.
Always going to have shit to sing about. They sing about nothing but wars.
Right.
I got plenty of stuff to sing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing. You guys have a great pool of inspiration to pull from already.
One of my favorite bands. Yeah. I love their story. I love how their lyrics and their songs are basically stories. They're painting a picture. And when I write, I paint a picture as well too. Like I want these images in your head, and you're going to remember it then at that point as well too. You're remembering the story, you're remembering the image that's coming to mind. Each person may be different, but it comes to your mind, it stays in their brain. And that's how they remember these iconic songs. You think about Metallica, Fade to Black, or Enter Sandman. What are those images on Enter Sandman?
Right.
They pop in your head. Yes, the music is catchy. Yes, the lyrics are catchy, but it's burning in your head. You're thinking Sandman. You're thinking Dreaming. You're thinking falling off the building. Whatever those pictures that you put in your head.
I think
you remember it forever.
I think doing videos too there's certain things in videos like
Yeah.
to me, if I was like, hey, what's your favorite Megadeth song? Oh, Automatically Sweating Bullets comes to mind because that was one of my favorite videos to watch.
Right.
Because it was so like you could see the lyrics come to life in that video. So it's kind of like when you see that come to life, I think a lot of that sticks with the fans, from a fan standpoint. So
Sure, absolutely. That was really
just like I missed out being on biking in your last video.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
I was dressed up in traffic and I was like, man, I don't think I'm gonna make it.
Yeah, our Ride of the Valkyrie video, that was so much fun. It was kind of wet, kind of rainy, kind of overcast.
Yeah.
But it was
Very
kind of
bloody.
It was a perfect day.
It was perfect.
Oh, yeah, it was perfect.
It really
Yeah.
was.
It was an iconic day. We came home with a lot of bruises. Lots of bruises because we would film multiple scenes over and over, and it's just like getting hit over and over and over, and blood.
I'll definitely get you on the next one. So.
Yes,
Hell,
absolutely.
depending on when you're shooting it, hell, I'm pulling my hair out.
I got my war paint and my weapons still ready.
Well, I warn you, we do, because we love to spend so much time together, we actually went to a restaurant directly after the video shoot.
Don't think
Not
I
even going home.
Don't think I will.
So we were covered
I will too.
in
Yeah, I
blood
told
and mud and everything.
I'll even order. I'll even order.
Just stay in character.
We're going into the fanciest restaurants like that. That's what you do.
Right, exactly.
Make reservations before you go too.
You know it.
30 people. Yeah,
Plus a bunch of pearl clutching.
exactly. Through the Roy's Grace's Steakhouse dressed up like that.
Oh, see,
There you go.
There you go.
We're rock stars. We can
Order a
do
bunch
that,
of tomahawk sirloins, eat them without mouth, so
Then we'll be Vikings. Throw the chairs around the restaurant,
Well, nobody,
Throw our Viking battle in the restaurant.
nobody's came and like got on to us shit. So I guess we're good. So.
yeah.
I don't know when y'all's next scheduled one was, but
Like 12 or something.
oh, y'all got time.
Well, it's a couple of the other bandmates.
Oh, I got you. So y'all are.
Yeah,
I got you.
We're trying to split it up.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Maximum exposure.
Yeah, that is true. Like that's another thing, guys. I'll make the thing about doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
What practically even is. So it's kind of.
Well, that was the thing. Is like, I told Dave that they told him they were going to be our interviews. Like,
Right.
well, we can only bring 2 people because that was in the email. We can
Yeah.
only bring 2 people over. Who should we bring? I was like, let me talk to them because they really wouldn't.
Yeah,
They did.
Because we wanted to do this, and we still want to do the interview. I mean, we couldn't have gone wrong, I don't think. So we are all going to get together after this. And
That's the thing I told him. So I like that one of the singers in Dave. I think the thing was we're already comfortable with you. So for us, it was a comfort zone for that part. And then whether it was you or Adam, I'm glad it was you, honestly, because I know a little bit more about from following you than I do Adam. Yeah. So and you probably post more than he does.
yeah, she does.
They are. So, I think that'll lead a lot to your success, dude. I think that's a lot of the. I mean, we're in a social media age, so of course you're going to have to be. We have outlets.
I think. And Joey's getting better at it.
I mean, we're on apps we don't want to have, but because of what we do, we have to have them.
I'm the same way. If we just have to utilize social media, honestly, for the furthering of our band and our business, I just as soon stay off of it. Doesn't bother me.
I will say you guys have it better than we do because you're just covering your band. We're covering.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think we counted we just like 200 plus albums a year after the show, and it's so it's definitely we get down to the end of the year, we take 2 weeks off because we got so much material to compile before the end of the year. So it's Christmas time too. We don't bother nobody with the show. But it's it gives us time to compile everything for an end of the year show. Because there's so much to try to dig into 2.5, 3 hours. And like I said, it's a good problem to have for the music world in general, the metal world in general, is to have all that. And like I said, people just say, "Oh, the metal's dead." What are you listening to? Somebody was like, "Well, there are only 12 albums came out last week." I said, "Well, I don't know what source you're using, but we got 53." So we can't. we can never listen to everything that we see on the playlist every week. Not do it 40 hours. Like if this was only our job, for sure.
Yeah, I listen to 18 hours a day.
Oh, well, yeah.
Like it's that's something you're doing.
Right. That'd be a great job.
It would be a great job.
Need some good sponsors. Need some good sponsors. Even if it's like,
I got an interesting question. So I'll flip the role.
Okay.
So when you guys first heard about Valkyrie's Fire, what was it that you liked? Or when you heard about it, did you see the logo? Did you see a music video?
Honestly, yeah. So I didn't even listen to your music first. I seen the logo and I said, oh, this band's gonna be badass. Just seeing the logo. Because I think so. The thing to me is like that's. So, like I said, marketing come into play right there because you seen that, you're like, oh, that's badass. Because you're trying to appeal to a metal community. So, what do? Make a fire, logo, stuff.
Everybody loves fire.
It's like we do. We got podcast shirts. It's our new ones from Skull. I got the new ones from 2024 coming. Got dragons on it. So you're appealing to the metal community. You get to appeal to the metal community with what they visualize. So you got snakes, and skulls, and death, and heaven, hell, all those things can be incorporated into your.
I always like to learn and to hear about what people's first impressions are about.
Well, yeah, because that's what and then when we heard it, of course, we're like, first. So I think, man, did I hear it first and then tell you about it? Yes, because I heard it first and said, dude, this is your stuff right here. Because he's more of a power metal fan than I am, but I do like it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm not knocking it at all, but he's just more of a fan than I am.
He was the one who actually towards
That's right.
The main thing is like I have an opinion on things like that, but I know he's like more of
the expert.
Well, he's just exactly more than I am because I can hear it and be like, oh, this is badass, and then he'll be like, oh, but did you hear that? And I'm like, no, I don't know what I'm listening for. But he knows more about listening to those things, the power, stuff. And I'm more of a metalcore guy. Second thing, we're both thrash by heart. I lean more to a metalcore. He leans more to the power and symphonic and stuff.
A lot more stuff that comes out of here.
Exactly, yeah. So, and it works out for us because we're hitting all the spectrum with the two genres, with the genre. So because we're, like I said, we can hit all the threat side, but then we're like branching off underneath that. So, and it's not like I don't like not go out of my way to listen to that stuff because a lot of times we don't even know these bands. So I turn around and I'm like, okay, this is a power metal. I'll probably, I'll get to the songs and I like this, but I really like hearing Christmas songs. He likes that stuff more than I do.
But expert is not a word we use.
Well, no, we're not that friendly. I think it's like I always got told at one point in my professional career in the past, like when you think you know everything, you don't believe you might get out because there's no need to be there if you know everything.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly why I asked too, because we don't know everything, even about our own band. And it's like, I love learning and hearing about people's first impressions, And obviously, looks has a lot to do with this. So you see a logo like that, you're going to instantly be like either drawn to it or just be like, standoffish. But then you start hearing the music and seeing the music video and stuff like that. It's kind of pieces, I guess, building blocks, essentially, I would say.
Well, the funny thing is like,
helps us today.
The funny thing is for me, just the name evokes an image.
Right, exactly.
Cool.
That's good to know.
Yeah, I think that
the name evokes an image, even without the fire. Even without the fire, it evokes.
I think that's it.
Because I know, like I said, I am not an expert on. I'm not an expert on
Norse mythology.
I don't like calling it.
Okay.
Like Norse, yeah. Because Christians don't like it called Christian mythology either. Because people, Norse lore. That's kind of their religion. I don't like to call it religion.
Okay, gotcha.
But so I do know some stuff about Norse lore, but Valkyrie's tied to that.
Right.
I believe Valkyrie's fire that evoked an image to me right away. Even before I listened to the music, which he told me the style. I got this.
Yeah, it's funny. When I was coming up with a name, I wanted to find something unique. That can be hard in this day and age. And then trying to be creative enough to have a catchy band name. So many bands have one band or like a one-word band name. You know, other ones have a 2 or 3 word band name. Some of them have 5, 6.
Yeah,
Too many, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have a nice balance. And I like the idea of nostalgia. You know, it's a little bit of my area, but it's also something that I call it nostalgia.
Yeah, no, I mean,
This is somebody else. You know, so that always intrigued me. And then, so you think about Valkyries, right? They come down, they collect the souls of fallen warriors in the battlefield, right? So the battlefield, particularly back in that day and age, was full of fire, right? So they're flying through the fire. Valkyries fire.
Yeah.
So that's where I came up with that. And then I was just like, I looked it up, Googled it. Nobody had the name. It was
Pretty son. Yeah.
He's mine now.
There's a name. Then it was just coming up with the logo itself and the lettering. And so I was drawing everything out. I progressed through it in stages, and then finally got it done. And I had a digital artist create the actual real fire based on my drawings.
Well, the good thing is too with the VF, you don't even need to be married to have fire behind it.
Right. Oh yeah. You see our banners over at our booth. Yeah, I did the same thing. We have on our stage. Yeah, stage friends. Yeah, just a big VF here. You know, it's just the VF.
Yeah, it doesn't absolutely have to have fire behind it.
Yeah,
I mean, look at how long it works.
Yeah, you can separate the parts of the logo.
So one thing you just did, maybe you just respect you guys more, is like you asked us what you thought to help you grow.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of bands should do that. I mean, because a lot of fans be like, well, I don't give a shit what the fans think. I'm doing this for me. Like,
Which is
fine.
important.
It is fine that you're writing music, but you do want to be like, oh, the fans said this. So I mean, if you got if you got some feedback, okay, maybe we'll work on that in the future or something. You know?
Right, yeah. If there's ever anything that we can work on, yeah, definitely want to.
I think that's cool that you did that. I do think that constructive criticism is good as long as you can take it, right?
I always welcome it.
So a lot of people get defensive off of it. I'm just like, nobody's attacking you guys. Like, chill out, you know. On your head, you know.
Well, because a lot of people depend on comment sections of the internet. Those places.
Well, right. If you learn anything from Rap Breaks Internet, you learn that.
Right.
Don't read the comments.
And,
Right.
I mean, we had comments too. I was like, I don't care.
we are literally just doing this.
We actually had somebody talked about my accent one time and said, "Did you not see my name on here?" My name is the Cornbread Metalhead for a reason. I have an accent.
Yeah, I have a pretty big accent as well too. Betty fortunately doesn't, and Adam really doesn't.
It's all one of those things where make fun of yourself and have some fun with it.
Leaning into the skit.
There you go. Yeah, I have no denial about
right. No,
it's like whatever. I know that. That's why I'm doing what I do. So, in the active world, they kind of say, "Oh, that language." You say, well, "Does it?" I mean, like, how many westerns do y'all shoot a year? Like,
yeah, I really enjoy, learning more about what people's opinions are and views of what we do and how we can grow. I feel like, again, another great thing about our band, and I'll boast about our band all day long, and then I kind of fade into the background. But I'm so proud of our band because one of the things that we do is we work so well together that we kind of feel the same kind of vibe. Like, we always want to grow, we always want to expand, we always want to take it to the next level. So for us, we're always looking for ways to improve, to better our show, to better communicate with others, to always reach out to our fans. These things that so many bands, once they even get bigger, they forget about some of those basic core values. And I think it hurts their band in the longevity of time. So, just my personal opinion, I really want to always have that feedback and constructive criticism. Is needed because it helps us grow. It does. Something we need to change. We need to change that direction and move on. I feel like it's healthy.
It is. Well, the funny thing is a little bit of constructive criticism can help you grow and keep you grounded.
Exactly.
It's like,
Exactly.
Okay.
Pops your ego a little
Yeah,
bit.
exactly. I mean, people don't have to be passive. Can I say it? Sorry.
Oh yeah. We're
Oh,
not
no.
People don't have to be assholes and dicks about it.
Right, exactly.
A good, true constructive criticism is always good for girls.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think too what helps if another musician gave you stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because they may hear something like, "Hey man, you probably should have hit another note here or something." And you're like, "Okay, we'll try it and see what it sounds like." You know?
I love hearing from our fans. We hear from our fans at the merch table all the time. You know, they see us at a live show. You know, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you know, you're so great." And I'm like, "Thank you, appreciate it." You know, what was your favorite quote? You know, right. And I like to learn more about that because it really helps us as well to improve, you know, what we're doing.
Exactly.
And I'm not the biggest performer on stage. You know, like Betty and Adam. Joey is. Joey's crazy. He's a madman. He jumps off stage and plays guitar behind his head and all that crazy stuff. And then they're over there headbanging. Put it over the whole time, Betty and Adam.
It's good though because you have a mix of different personalities that work well together. That's the thing. It's like
they all have a presence.
right, and it's just like, oh man, check out that guy's crazy. Then you hear go, oh shit, hold up. Your focus isn't on one person in the band, I think, and that's good because a lot of times, even when we say some of the bands that we love, it's like, say Alex Goldman does a guitar solo, and you're like, oh shit, he could be singing. You're so out on instant, turn the guitar up, you know.
Yeah, it's like you just see one person and you're stuck watching that one person.
And unfortunately, we're in I think Arthur Saint wrote a song one time about we're at the end of the attention span because people have a short attention span now, 2 minutes, and they're on something else, you know.
Oh yeah.
And then, that's kind of like I was saying, like. That's kind of what goes back into this day and age of being relevant. Because you putting stuff out.
It's time.
Yeah, exactly.
The ability to scroll.
Exactly.
Their attention span goes so quickly now. You have to catch them within that millisecond.
Yep. And I gotta say, it's a lot better to have TikTok now than reading the back of the shampoo bottle 30 times.
Very true.
I kind of do this nostalgic days of going to the record store and standing in line.
Right. I got
Flipping through the CDs and the vinyl.
We actually talked about that the other day. We talking about how the robots buy all the tickets and all that stuff. So, man, I wish they just go back to the days when you just go to Kroger or somewhere and physically get a ticket. You know, I would love that. You know?
Oh yeah. I used to camp out for them.
Yeah,
Me too.
That was a big deal.
I remember
It was fun.
It was.
And I actually remember it was
Big coolers and all shares.
it was like 2018, 2019, right before the pandemic, where Foo Fighters did that.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, man, you're gonna have to go get a ticket. It's like, I thought that was cool.
I thought it was
like,
cool.
That's awesome. I wish every band would start doing that again. Unfortunately, you probably can because there's so many digital things out there to make it go faster. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to think creatively and come up with something as we grow up.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a breakthrough moment there.
Something fun.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And then, like you were talking about, just like that, when you're talking about the logo and stuff, if I'm in a record shop, if I'm flipping through and I see that, I'm probably going to buy it. I don't even know what it sounds like. Because I have bought records. Like, at the scene the cover. Like, oh, I got to have that.
I did too.
That's the thing. Back in the day, these are great.
Yeah, it was.
It was.
You can't go to Spotify and YouTube to get a taste first.
Yeah, and then you're like, I'm glad I didn't buy that.
Yeah. Like that.
It's just like I go in semi-blind because I do the playlist every week of new music, so I kind of hear some stuff already when I'm doing the playlist. He goes in blind.
I try to go in.
He'll mention something. I'm going to listen to this one. I'll be like, good luck.
Yeah. Do some blind reaction videos next time. Yeah, that's what you need to do.
Well, so we have the ability to do that. It's just having the time. Like we have our own radio. We have our own radio station. So we could live broadcast from the app on the radio station onto YouTube and all that, and I could download all that stuff and then do a live reaction to anything.
Nice.
But that's something we may look
Maybe
into.
Valkyrie's Fire music video needs to be released.
So we have done videos. So we haven't done that on here. Halo Scars premiered their video on our show.
Yeah. We love Halo Scars.
So it's so we have had premieres on our show. One of the last did one of their videos on here. So there's been fans that say, hey man, we'll do this. We want to do the podcast again. I say, yeah, so let's do it this day because I can hear the video on there. I'm like, all right, cool.
That's nice.
Yeah, we're not going to say no.
Right. Why would you?
Yeah, even if my whole perspective is even if we get you guys 40 or something views off of a video, that's 40 more people that know who you are. One's better than none, right? So, we don't have honestly, we don't have a lot of stuff on Spotify because they want you to like sponsor to get put in the forefront. I'm not paying the money extra, but I already paid you a monthly fee, so you get more money. I'm not going to pay you more to take from the band.
Yeah, like I we make very little money off of streaming services like Spotify and stuff. I don't even pay for Spotify because I'm like, I'm going to pay for Spotify more than I'm actually going to make probably.
Right. Exactly.
I'm like, it's
a little
pointless
weird.
at this point. And why don't artists have why don't artists have free Spotify?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, legitimately, that's a great question.
Yeah.
There of the millions of users out there in the world, there's far less musicians and professional bands.
Right.
Why don't they have free accounts?
That'd be nice.
You know, like, I think that's pretty. Just my opinion.
They should at least give you for free. If you're
You know, they give you a Spotify for artists login, right? So you can see your stats, but you don't have a free Spotify. Or at least not that I'm aware of. But there's somewhere out there that
that would be a good way for him. That would actually be, honestly, if I'm the guy running that would be a good way for me to keep people off my back for a little while longer. And say, yeah, you know what, we do the band's free Spotify. And then people will be like, all right, you can see how that works.
Because everybody knows.
Oh, well, yeah.
Makes you really miss the radio.
Yes, it does. Yeah. You know, and that's the thing too is I wish that more local radio stations, promoted more local bands. You know, one of the things that
we don't have enough time to talk about.
Oh yeah, I know, right?
I know, right?
1029 The Buzz put a post up about that on Facebook last week, and I saw that. Asking what. Oh, I know.
Right,
and I was and they were asking, what would you like to see more of on the radio station? And I was like, more promotion of local artists, your local radio station.
So more promotion of the metal community in general, because you're a rock station and you play 5 heavy metal bands on there like Slipknot, Metallica, Pantera once in a while. Where's the Testament to Exodus and Megadeth?
They are ignoring it.
Well, yeah,
but then they want to boast about it. See, we're getting into this.
We're going down the rabbit hole.
They're boasting about being Nashville's rock station. And, okay, fine. You've basically limited yourself to rock, and that's fine. But if you remember, they used to be 102.9 The Buzz, everything that rocks.
Right.
You're talking about everything that rocks. Include everything that rocks.
Exactly.
And they used to have a local show.
They used to have the local buzz, every Sunday night. Not that I'm aware of.
So they used to do Saturday night. They used to have 2 hours of metal. The Works.
Oh, yeah,
Works.
Mill, yeah.
105.9.
105.9 at the
Well,
metal
yeah, they
shop.
still the Nashville station.
Right.
You had Metal Works, so that was like the only time you could actually listen to anything
Right.
under 25 years on that station. Because everything's 25 years plus on that station. Because they're the oldies.
Yeah.
That's the thing is they make those bones about that.
Well, no. Yeah, they just pissed me off when they started playing stuff like Foo Fighters. I'm like,
Yeah, that's like that hurts.
Well, yeah, we would love to see more promotion from radio sources, internet sources. So we appreciate things like this. These podcasts, metal podcasts. I think it's great. What you guys are doing, what everybody here is doing here in this community today. It's deeply appreciative by us as local artists who are fighting every day, working so hard to get our names our music out there.
so there's a lot of the TikTok people that do live shows with metal too. I follow a couple of those, and they'll do like different stuff every night, like 2 or 3 hours or something. And they'll do like a ballad section or a new metal section. So I mean that's pretty cool. At least that's kind of something. I mean, I kind of like. I have mixed feelings about it. It's kind of like it's good in a way because you're giving those guys publicity, but it's bad in a way because you're playing it to 3,000 some people that could be giving listening. So those 3,000 some people could be listening to that song and giving them 3,000 something listening to it. You're giving them one. So I have mixed feelings about it. That's really the reason we haven't done that yet because I'm kind of like, oh man, is that really going to like benefit them though? Because if we do a live like feed like that, then you're going to have, we don't have that many people listening, but 30, 40 people listening. Those 30, 40 people could have been listening to that song already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I kind of look at it that way too. So I'm real torn about doing it, but I mean, at some point we're probably going to have to, unfortunately. But I mean, that's just going to have to be something because we try to do different stuff all the time to make the show a little bit different every year. We kind of included the show and tell this year. We have never done that before, so we kind of we got memorabilia everywhere. So show people what we have. So we kind of stick to the same format for the most part, but our main, we do the news section, and then we do like our own like playlist that's based on thinking that we come up with. That's just kind of our creative portion to the show. So. That's Eric Camaro again. So we do have an interview at 11. So we definitely would like to do this again with all you guys, man.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah. I'm speaking to some concert somewhere on earth. We're always out and about with all the bands. I always feel like if we're talking to a band and we don't go when they're here, then we're kind of like we're showing that we're part of it. We believe in what we're doing because there have been bands that came through we didn't see that we've interviewed, but they actually ended up not showing up, so it kind of like helped us out. Like, oh yeah, let's go.
Well, get a little bit more exposure to that too. We really appreciate that. So thank you very much.
Like I said, I wear mine out a lot too because I just love it.
Thank you guys again. This is wearing the badge and everything there from Nashville Rock.
Yeah, he gave it to me. He's like, hey, he had one for you too. I'm like, man, this sucks, dude.
I made those for band members.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Really, I wish I could have made it. I really do. Yeah, he kept saying, hey, you heard this band? I'm like, actually, yeah. He's like, man, they're badass. I'm like, yeah, that's why I wanted to be there.
Actually, we're
Good. Yeah.
We try. So that's another thing. We try to keep like with a lot of local. So we got Lost Circus. We got Element 117. So we try to keep it local.
Good bands.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen Element 117 before. I actually did not catch their whole tie-in.
Oh yeah.
All those researching. I was like, oh, that's pretty smart. I like that. Got a little nerdy on it.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Thank you for finally meeting. Nice to finally meet. Oh, can you guys?
Everything you said.
Are we signing this
Yes, please.
next to our name, or does it matter?
It doesn't matter. I'm gonna wind up framing it.
Nice.
That was a thing.
I sign next to Emily.
Doesn't always work out for us. That's all it matters.
Yeah, I'll get Dave again.
He's a chatter.
Oh yeah.
Thank you guys again. It was good to meet you.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah, buddy. I'll sign that for you. Yeah, of course, bud. I got a silver Sharpie. You wanna?
Well, they didn't even have chairs for guests. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Yeah. We brought our own.
You're welcome. Absolutely.
Thanks again, Dave.
Yes. You're very welcome. Have a great day. I'm coming right now. Coming right now.
All right, now we're here with our next guest, Lost Circus.
Yes, that is us.
Yeah, I didn't have this. Like Jason brought a steel chair. I don't have one at the house. I just brought one. Yes, we are live at our next guest. Lost Circus. They were at the Rock N tonight on Thursday. Dave's show that he put on. And I had a great time. I did. I had a phenomenal time watching you guys. I was blown away.
I remember seeing you there. Kenny was saying, "Yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy."
I was the one down in front. Yeah, we talked a couple times.
He actually messaged me in the middle of y'all's show. He's like, "Man, these all circus guys are great. Have you heard of them?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, that's why I wanted to be at the show. I had to work." So I was like, "Yeah, I said, yeah, I've seen them before. They're good."
Yeah, full disclosure, the show the other night was the first time seeing you guys live. And it was really an eye-opening experience.
Wow,
yeah, because and like it says on your guys' website, I mean, you guys are keeping like the classic hard rock and heavy metal. I did not expect your voice to come out. I absolutely did not expect that.
I get that. Yeah. That's funny.
It was so awesome because I mean, you guys have twin guitars, that iconic stuff that Priest and made, great mix of everything.
Well, if you look at the band that we're fans of, you just said there's probably not a band amongst any of us that we admire that isn't a twin guitar band.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you can hear probably a lot of those influences in Lost Circus music. Having the two guitar players and both of them being lead guitar players, so that stylistically you can hear the difference, but together it creates that sonic fabric that allows this guy to do his thing and paint his pictures. And it's so much fun for us.
Well, I mean, that's the most important thing. Of course, writing the music you want to sing, and enjoying it while you're up there. I mean, you can't really ask for a whole lot more than that, I don't think, really. But
and then get the appreciation from fans and the feedback while we're up there.
Yeah.
And any band that you talk to would say it's the audience that energizes you.
Right. We were just talking about it with Dave, just talking about what we're doing with the show and the band's talking about, trying to create a symbiotic relationship, pushing bands and then having bands like follow us, we follow them. But audiences and the artists, it's the same thing. Who feeds who? Like when you guys start singing, are you feeding the audience or is the audience feeding? So sometimes it's hard to tell. I get bored sometimes. So it's kind of, I'd say probably the goal. Well, one of the goals.
Absolutely.
I know it's not only one goal, but
well, and I know Steve sees it because he's out there. Even from my perspective, sitting back behind the drum kit, I guess we've played enough now, and we've started to formulate a little bit of a following that it makes me freaking giddy to see people in the audience singing.
Right, exactly.
Oh, sure.
It's got to be a charge for you.
I don't really like it.
You hate it.
He's like, I didn't even want to be here.
No, you guys pay me well enough. I guess I'll stay.
So you bring that up, and I know you guys have been, obviously in other collective bands before. So what kind of brought all of you together?
It's me. I do everything. They do nothing.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I had an idea. I moved to Nashville in '97 to be a songwriter. Did that for 10 years, got burned out, and then I took a few years off. And my wife told me, she said, "Hey, something's missing. You need to do something." So
she wanted you out of the house.
she wanted me out of the house. She said, and I don't like country music, so I need you to go back into the heavy metal, hard rock genre. So I started playing with some friends around town, doing some covers and stuff, and then I got into an Iron Maiden tribute band. Time goes on, we do a bunch of shows, and then I just decided I wanted to do original stuff. So I started writing songs again, pitched the idea to Tom. He's like, yeah, I'm in. We ate. We had thought about what we were going to do. I got Kenny involved because me and Kenny was in Sad Wings, which is a Judas Priest cover band. We played a bunch of shows together, so we got to know each other. It's like, hey, this is going to work out. He knew Tom knew Brian. Brian came into the picture, and Brian knew Chad. Chad came into the picture, and that's the original lineup. We've stayed together and haven't killed each other yet. So.
Also, you're saying there's a chance.
There is a chance. There's always a chance. I don't know how many times I'm like that.
So if you keep your hand open,
right.
I guess, yeah.
You don't want to close the fist.
Don't hit anybody with that.
Oh, if you're going to do that, get it mirrored on the ring so it comes out on the floor.
That's
right. Exactly.
So, that's right.
No,
That's true.
That's 100% true.
So why happened with coming up with the name Lost Circus?
He actually said the name first. Tom actually said the name first. We were going through a list, and it was painstaking to try to come up with something that hadn't been taken or remotely taken. And so we went on and we would come up with, this is a great name, and you'd look and somebody had it, and you're like, well, it's not, it wasn't trademarked or anything, but you don't really want to do it.
It's still a can of worms.
Yeah. So we came up circus, and then the visuals, and then he said, well, what about Lost Circus? We went on to 1,000 other things. We kept coming back to Lost Circus, and then we did the whole visual take on the clown. I know it's been done before, but it's fun. We can incorporate merch, songs, and everything. So it worked out for us. We went through the whole process and made everything legal, so nobody can steal our name.
I think too, you kind of revert that name back to what you guys are doing, because I think you're talking about a lost sound.
That's why it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense that way when you think about that. So. Right. Yeah, because you don't
that's the thing is, it doesn't sound old.
No, it doesn't. But I'm just saying,
it absolutely does not. But I mean, you get the feel of it, but it doesn't sound like, hey, we're going to play stuff from like this decade, and this is just how it's going to sound. No, it doesn't feel like that.
A lot of that goes to our producer, Tom Harding. So he's produced everybody. So a lot of country acts, a lot of heavy metal acts. He's done the whole thing. He's been our backbone on this, really, as far as the sound goes. Him and Brian putting it together, post and all that. Is post the right word? I don't know words. I'm a singer. He's in the business, so he knows.
Well, we're playing music that we enjoy. And again, it goes back to our it's stuff that brought us the most joy as fans. We're doing our version.
Yep, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Hoping that other people enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think that's good too. Even with bigger bands, you see a lot of those guys break off and do side projects because they're not into what they're actually playing with the bigger bands, but that's what's paying the bills.
Yeah.
So
they're always like, I need to flex, stretch my legs or flex my muscles, whatever you want to use for it. Yeah.
And it's crazy how much influence they take with them though. I'm just like, well, that's definitely what you're doing in Korn.
Right.
You just put your own name on it, but it's the same shit. So.
Well, I mean, it kind of did, but I mean, he was singing, so it wasn't junk. But,
a lot of the stuff that we've done as far as music, when I write the lyrics, or even when I sing, I do stuff on purpose because I'm a big Halford fan, Jeff Tate fan. That's my style. That's what I like to listen to, what I like to emulate. And
I didn't. No, I didn't. I expected. I didn't know what.
You just waiting to hear some gutturals or something, wasn't you?
Well, no, I wasn't. It wasn't that kind of show. I expected something a little more aggressive, but then, like, when maybe a little more groove oriented, but the first song was like, all the way in. So you say Halford, Jeff Tate,
Not that I'm comparing. That's my influence.
No,
we got taken out of context once.
No, I wasn't.
Someone did an interview with us on the thing, and did a review of our album, and it was in Italy or something. He's like, yeah, these guys think that they're Judas Priest and Queensryche. I call BS.
I didn't get it.
That's kind of like when we do album reviews, we kind of like put that out there because we push new bands. That's what we do. We don't do Metallica. I mean, everybody knows all that stuff, and they don't need the clicks. So, so we try to push newer bands up because pushing them up helps push us up. So we're kind of like growing together.
Yeah,
and that's what we want to do. We want to grow. We want to grow with you guys. Like everybody we've interviewed, we want to grow with you guys.
Yeah.
And like we were talking about with that, it's like we go in here and we say, well, if you like Judas Priest or Queen, right, you will like all service.
Yeah, he took us way out of context.
And I hate that because we're in a day and age where we talk about short attention spans, but we're also in a day and age where people only hear what they want to hear.
And we're a very humble band. We even like bad bands.
So speaking of, I want to get into. I want to bring this up. Not only do you guys have a great sound unto yourself, but the other night, I was standing, over stage left for the most of it because I was trying. The funny thing was, because you guys have the twin guitar attack. Well, Brian was on the one side, Kenny was on the other. So I'm sitting here trying to take pictures. I'm on the one side, Brian's playing the solo. I'm like, fuck, I don't have time to go over there. And I was over there on Brian's side, like, and then, Kenny had. I was like, son of a bitch, I'm on the wrong end again. So that's the only kind of like the downside to having like two lead guitarists. You never know what it'll be on. But I was standing over there by Brian, and they did the intro style running, and you were like, yeah, we're gonna play one of our favorite tunes. I've always been a sucker for a great cover. When they're really well done, they just get knocked out of the park. So I always like to hear how are they going to do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And like I said, that was my first Lost Circuit show, so it's like, all right, that piqued my interest. And you started playing that song, and there was nobody standing around me, but I turned around, and like the first person who was, because I was over there on the stage side where you guys merch team was, and I turned around, like your merch girl was looking at me. I'm like, are you fucking serious? And she walked up because she couldn't hear me. She had a smile and she goes, what's wrong? I said, and you hadn't even started singing yet. You hadn't even started singing the song yet. I heard the music. I was like, no way they're playing it. And so I turned around and I was like, are you serious? And she walked up and I said, this is so good, it's ridiculous. And she just laughed and went back to the
Wow,
so
thank you.
It was so well done. With everything else that you guys had already done. The way the originals are composed, the way you sing, the way the guitar solos are incorporated, whether it's Kenny's or Brian's or both. I mean, it was an eye-opening experience for me, But then to hear that, and then obviously leading into the new release that just came out Friday night. You guys, have you heard that yet?
It's on the playlist.
Okay, so it is. But the spin that you guys put on it.
That's a great idea. I'm glad they came. I tend to be, and these guys beat on sort of a grammar Nazi, spelling Nazi, and all this, whenever we put those stuff up.
Yeah.
And sort of along the same line, we try not to do covers of songs, because in my mind, the cover is you're playing that song as it was originally written.
Right.
We'll do a remake.
Right, there you go.
Of someone else's. But we'll, and Brian likes to call it, we reimagine.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll take the structure of something that somebody else did, but we'll smear Lost Circus all over it, and put a nice creamy icing of Lost Circus juice on it and turn it into something that sounds like Lost Circus, but it was something that somebody else had originally created. So, and that's kind of our approach on doing any cover. Sure. Is we'll do a Lost Circus version of somebody else's song.
And that song in particular really doesn't. The structure of it's different than most way songs are written. It really isn't a chorus to speak of. So it's like 3 verses and then an end. And I was like, I'm in. Sounds good. So we did it perfect. We did a dummy version of it, like the night before it.
Yes.
We did that and started running at the same time.
Same time, we were in Brian's studio, at his house, and we were just kind of nibbling ideas, like trying what's something that we could do our take on some of the last song that we had in the
Right.
That's 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's 100% right.
Yeah, there was never.
Yeah.
Odds are low.
Wow.
Yeah, Janet, Jasmine Kane over there, she does my version. Yeah, I'm invited. Okay. I mean, yeah, but not at a festival. But nobody else.
That's cool because you guys have that.
Very unorthodox stuff.
Yeah, you guys have that now in your arsenal.
Now we have to learn how to play it. We have to learn how to play it. And we're going to hire 45 violinists. And,
Yeah.
So is this uninvited? Is that going to be like a standalone, or is that leading into something bigger? Okay, gotcha. Are y'all working on some new stuff? I know you haven't had an announcement.
we got 4 or 5 songs in the bag right now, and we need to go back in the studio and start recording again. But
to get another collection album, whatever optimistically by the end of the summer.
Okay.
Because it's been going on considerably 4 years.
Yeah.
We don't want to be 5 years
Right.
releasing new material.
And
Some of the new stuff that'll be on this next album, we've been playing live
Okay.
for a while, but just didn't make it to the first.
Okay.
and we've got probably 13 songs to choose from. So we'll figure out which ones are the best ones that match. They fit the album. Yeah. We'll fill it. We'll fill it.
And we were talking about this. I think this is like we talk about. We see this stuff all the time. Rock's dead, metal's dead. I'm like, no, what are y'all watching? Because I mean, it's not what we're seeing. Because, like I said, we're seeing you guys. Y'all have been in the business a long time. Y'all forming a new collective. So we have. Say we got like a couple bands that we talked to. They have older bands. They still have that music, and now we got new music from the but they're still doing 2 projects. So you got 2 new bands. Right. So it's like, how are you not seeing this? That it's a good thing to where these guys are doing multiple projects and you're having multiple bands. It's like nobody can be Max Cavalera, unfortunately, with 20 bands. But
I think I'm starting to believe that the people who say that, I think they're wanting it to be true.
Yeah.
Well, I think so,
do.
but I just don't think they see. I don't think they see. To me, I love this because this is local for us. We're from the area too.
Yeah.
So for us to push out and say, "Hey, look, we're not a country music city only. We have metal and rock here." And I think it's becoming a bigger scene, honestly, because like East Tennessee is pushing over into Nashville now, and I think all Nashville over. I mean, you've seen a lot of metal bands come out, man. It's good to see.
We've interviewed 4 or 5 from East Tennessee.
Yeah. So it's a good feeling for us to have, all you guys putting out new music for people. And I said, our job is to put it out in front of more people. So that's best we can. So we can't force people to do things. Unfortunately, if we did, I'd still be wrestling and choking them out. Well, you're going to listen to Lost Circus. But it's
100% true.
But it's like it's become a mindset of a lot of bands saying we can't wait 5 years. Whether it be the age of the band or just like we talked about earlier, short attention spans. People seeing like a couple of years and they're just like, what do I have in that band? And then like I actually caught myself doing that. Like, man, what do I have in that band? Then I have a single out 2 weeks later. I'm like, maybe I have to start talking about bands and just bring it into existence.
Say it 3 times into the mirror.
Oh yeah. Then a clown up here.
Right, yeah. Clown logo here on the mirror behind you.
We're in an age of singles. There's a lot of established artists.
Yeah, I know.
That are like, what? If we ever do another album, is up in the air. But if we just throw a new something out there every now and then, stay on people's radar.
Right.
Sure.
Then, so we're trying to do that as we record this second album. Instead of waiting for everything to be done before we start spitting new products.
Sure.
We'll throw something new out there, just again to hopefully stay on people's radar.
Yeah.
We'll give people like you guys something to talk about.
Right.
Because that's the only way that a band like us
I could take this.
can hope to get to be relevant or stay relevant.
Yeah.
With anybody. So I think
I was actually just thinking about a song that, you have that one song. Of course, it's not going to be on the record. You already said that. So you have that standalone.
Yeah.
That's going to probably get clicked, and then people's going to click it more because they're going to realize it's not the album. So, and I think you go back to Slipknot. They did that All Out Life song years ago, and we bought the new album thinking, oh, it's going to be on there. So it's on there. So now it's up to like 132 million clicks because it's not on anything. Yeah, exactly. And I think it works out great.
Try to find balance in really everything, because you're talking about relevance, whether it's getting it or keeping it.
Exactly.
There's balance that you have to try to find in everything. Absolutely.
So you guys had a show. Any more upcoming shows coming up? Or?
We're still. Yeah, there's a new festival that's going to be in Bristol, Tennessee. In July called Rock Rockers. And it's going to be on the grounds of the new Hard Rock TV station. They've been doing this for like
they did that.
Yeah, so I think it's today. There's some others been announced who their headliners are going to be in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So we've already been asked to be on that. And then there's a couple of we fell into the biker rally.
Okay.
We played bike coverage last fall, and then we just did this year's bike group for 2 nights.
Oh, nice.
Well, the good thing about doing biker stuff is you don't have to pay for extra security. They're already there. So.
Yeah, exactly. So we're hoping to learn some of that and do some more bike rallies. Jasmine Kane is huge in the biker rally circle. So we're maybe following on but I think our big focus, we played Thursday night, but that's our last thing here in town.
Okay.
We really want to focus on getting people the songs finished so that maybe we can get this next collection of material done by end of summer. And then hopefully leverage that.
To tour later in the year or first of next year.
Are you guys like putting an album together yourself? Is this a DIY effort?
Well, it always is.
Right.
But we're working with a dear friend of mine for 30 plus years. He and I used to actually, in the 80s, we were producing bands here in Nashville. We were really the only ones working with the rock and metal community. I played in a band way back then. He produced our record. Then he and I started producing records together for bands like Intruder. And we were just talking to some of the original members of Steel. That started here.
Oh, yeah.
And we've been booked since like 1980. So, with Tom's oversight, to kind of wrangle us in and keep us between the lines, so to speak. It's all been self-created and self-induced. And he just decides that sucks. That doesn't suck. We go with that.
And you've got the history of where like he feels like he can
We told him flat out from the beginning. This is your job. To tell us where we're going sideways. And he doesn't hesitate.
Well, that's good.
It's that mutual respect because he's like the 6th band member. Certainly when we're in the studio.
That's important.
So we have that opportunity, and if he doesn't like something, it's
And it's good that you're like with somebody that you've known that long. You got a lot more trust in that person because if it was somebody you just met, you'd be like, what the hell do you know?
He's got Grammy Awards
Right.
Roll out, that kind of stuff. So it's not like, oh, you're free to shoot.
He's fired us a couple of times, but he hired us back.
Pizzas are, yeah, we'll work. Pizza's always the saving grace, right?
Pizza and beer, from what I hear.
That's how all the companies tend to keep everybody happy. Just buy pizza, right?
You don't need a raise. Here's a pizza.
Yeah, exactly. But I know we're running into our next interview pretty shortly, so I would hopefully everything kind of works out. We'll check that Bristol thing out. We might try to come out to that. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like,
It's going to be a lot more social media.
Yeah, that's what I was telling.
Once they get the headliners locked in.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we're definitely.
Yeah, we're going to follow it to see what all is happening. Yeah, like we had a friend of ours that's in another group, metal group. He's in talks with another big promoter about bringing a metal festival to Tennessee because we haven't really had anything since that Exit 111. So it's kind of been like, I was like, yeah, actually the guy was like, yeah, we've been talking about doing something in that area, so let's get together and have a chat. So hopefully something comes up of that too. Where, they can have a local stage on that too. We can get things out.
We played Old Gray in Monterey, Tennessee, at the Old Gray. We did that show with Warren, Winger, and Fire.
Oh yeah.
They tried to do a festival there. I don't know. We had a great crowd, but they didn't do it this year, so they did it 2 years ago. They're doing bike racing, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So no festivals, but you can watch people ride around and get their sad face. That was a great show.
Something that they think they can do like every Saturday night. Right?
So they get a couple of winners. Like, oh yeah, it's like
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I think we need a lot more. Actually, I think we need a venue that's going to be affordable for people to book. I think that's the biggest thing in the Nashville area. It's like, yeah.
So you mean if there was like some sort of amphitheater in Nashville?
It's probably not being used.
Every time I drive by there, it pisses me off.
It'd be different if they had done something. They haven't done that with it. Why didn't you just leave it there? Have somebody else buy it and keep running the show? It's like, but now they have so many amphitheaters that probably wouldn't do anything because they have the amp side or Ascend, and then they have the First Tennessee one. It's kind of
small. It's nice, but it's small.
I haven't really wanted to go, but Men at Work is coming to town at the end of the year. I'm going to go see them. It'll be the first time I've been there.
Yeah.
I seen, yeah, me too. I seen Cooper there a couple years ago. So, like I say, it's nice, but like I said, you're only talking like half the capacity of Starwood. I remember being at that show with like 17,000, 19,000 people, sliding down the hill in the mud. Now I drove down it just because I'm so able to keep my foot there.
I'd be like, where's the stairs? I had the stairway to walk down.
Hey guys, we do appreciate it. Like, is there anything we can do for you guys? Reach out, man.
Get in contact with us.
Had a great time.
Yeah, we'll definitely be at 4 shows, I promise. Oh, for sure. Like I said, we got the new track on our playlist, so
I have a sticker.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Hey, get some signatures from bringing out the energy drink early.
I can't. They don't have Diet Coke here. I hate Diet Pepsi. So this is pretty good though.
What you got? Yeah, those are bad. Like best tasting ones I've had are those solo ones that are like a rock promote. The one the rock promotes. They're really good. And they're not as much caffeine and stuff in all the other stuff. But the grocery store I go to don't carry them anymore. It's like,
As soon as you like something, it's gone.
every time. It never fails.
Tom. Sign it. Dude, thank you for having me.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, keep doing what you're doing, man. We're gonna keep promoting you. So
Good. I appreciate it.
thank you. We'll see you guys soon, I'm sure. We'll swing over it.
Nice. All right. Yeah, we'll be by here for a while. We got breaks. Thanks, man. We appreciate you. Good to see you.
Thanks, sir. All Circus. If you haven't heard of those guys, check them out. Local Nashville band. They're on Spotify. They're on all the streaming apps. Check them out. Some strangely good cover of Mike and the Mechanics. So,
it was awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of
like I said, I hope I didn't make them. I was hoping I wasn't making them feel like that was my favorite song of theirs. Because,
well, I mean, it just caught you off guard.
Absolutely did catch me off guard. But I mean, the entire set was tremendous. All of their original stuff was put together so well. I mean, the way, like I said at first, I did not expect Steve to have the voice that he has, and he really just belted out. And I was impressed.
You got East Band's playlist.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I got the set list. I got every set list.
That's cool.
And I'm hoping to get them all because I didn't know Jane and the Killer Queens were going to be here, so their table's right across the way because I see Diego over there. And Leo Duke is here. Actually, the only band that's not here is pretty tied up.
Over there for this one.
So yeah, I mean, 6 bands that were at the show.
We got 45 minutes there. So.
Yeah, they're here. So yeah, after Higgins and Cheney, we may be able to make the rounds. But great local band. Very, very happy that I got to go to that show and check them out. They got Lost Circus. They have a new fan in me. So.
That's right. Yeah. They're a great band, dude. They really are. Especially if you love the traditional heavy metal stuff.
I mean, just like they were saying. I mean, Tom talking about not doing a note for note cover of anything, putting their own spin on it, because then you don't lose anything from the original. You get, like he called it, a reimagining of somebody else's work, but you also don't lose the feel of the band that's doing it. It's a great blend. The way they did it, they did everything together. So,
next up is where we're kind of going in we're kind of going back in time a little bit, I guess you could say, since we're going to be interviewing a 16-year-old guitarist, probably a future virtuoso here. So
virtuoso.
Yeah.
At this point, he's probably a little too old to become a prodigy.
Well, yeah.
But I mean, right here from Nashville.
Yeah.
So we're about
5 minutes away.
About 5 minutes away from Peyton Sears joining us here. Broadcasting live Expo 2025. We're happy to be here. This is our second time being here. We were here in 2023. They didn't have the expo last year. There's a little bit of a changing of the guard that they went through last year. So they decided to take the year off so they could get all their ducks in a row and all this stuff ready to do. But thankfully they brought it back for this year. I think that might be it.
Yeah, I think so.
But thankfully they brought it back for this year. It was cool of them. To bring it back, and we're happy to be here. So that might be Peyton right there.
Peyton?
Yeah, how you doing, man? How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, what's your name?
Chris,
Jason.
Awesome.
We'll hurt you my podcast. Have a seat.
Yeah, dude.
Have a seat. Joining us in the program. Peyton Sears. guitar whiz kid from what we understand.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Man, probably by far definitely going to be our youngest guest of the weekend. Probably the,
Oh, yeah.
probably the youngest
Probably ever.
guest here.
Yeah, probably ever.
But very impressed to hear your track record so far.
Thank you.
So are you 15 or 16?
I'm 15.
So
Oh, 15. Okay.
In like a month.
Okay.
Oh, I got
Cause,
you, okay.
Yeah, because you were advertised as 15, and he said you were 16.
Well, I was.
Either way, I mean, because you've been playing the guitar for 10 years at this point. Okay, so originally from here.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I make sure I ask correctly. I'm not originally from here. I'm 30-something years. I'm not originally from here.
Yeah.
But
So my first question is going to be 5 years old. I mean, obviously you didn't pick up a big ass acoustic guitar and start playing at 5 years old. So what actually were you playing at that age to lead up to where you're at now?
Well, I started playing guitar when I was, like I said, 5 years old, and I got this like Fender Squire practice guitar.
Okay.
And like the first 3 albums that I got were REO Speedwagon, Sabbath, and AC/DC. So I immediately was just like in love with the sound. And I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. So I just started like strumming along, watching YouTube, and I fell in love with it. And I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah.
It's just it keeps on growing every single day. I haven't stopped.
So you did this at 5?
You notice he made the REO Speedwagon reference there. He threw REO Speedwagon.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. I don't know if he did it on purpose or not. So, now, who's this over here?
That is my mom.
Okay, because I was going to say, you had the Sabbath and REO Speedwagon, AC/DC, so I was going to say, if you're 5 years old and those were your influences, you must have
It had to come from somewhere.
You must have been raised right. Okay. Yeah, see, you catch them young.
That's right.
You listen to the good music and it brings them up because, talking about on your Instagram, Rock N Pod, talking about you were also influenced by, depending on who you ask, arguably one of the greatest guitar players of all time, talking about Randy Rhoads. So yeah, you could definitely do a whole lot more to be inspired by Randy Rhoads.
Yeah, he was the first guitarist that I was like, okay, this is insane. I didn't know you could do this with guitar.
Right.
Like, this sound is so, like out of this world.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to achieve that. And it's really shaped my sound.
Right. Yeah. So now being 15, obviously still in high school, sure you have a circle of friends. Do you? Because what I'm wondering is the music that inspired you is from quite a while before you were born. So the circle of friends you probably have right now. Are you maintaining a circle of friends with the same kind of music taste? Are you the outlier?
I'm kind of the outlier.
That's kind of what I figured because kids your age, it's weird. It sounds so old to say, obviously, but kids your age, of course, if you're listening to, rock or metal at all, probably, because my daughter's 23, and she listens to the same kind of music I do. Because she didn't really have a choice growing up, of course. But, so she comes by around this. But, her being 23, she listens to a lot more like deathcore and stuff like that. Yeah. So a lot of kids your age, if they're listening to this kind of music, they're probably gravitating more towards like Born Ashore, Slaughter to Prevail, stuff like that. So, there aren't a lot of, and don't get me wrong, we love it and we appreciate it. There's not a lot of people really your age who, even if they have like the parent who is, the musical influence, they'll kind of branch off and go their own way. But you were inspired by it so much that you picked up the guitar and you are still, even now, in 2025, you were born in 22. You were born in 22.
So it probably goes back to him just learning, picking it up at an earlier age too. So.
Yeah, but still, him still, because you are still playing that style of music.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
70s and 80s. So, that's how he learned it, but he hasn't taken off.
Right.
I'm sure you have a little bit. I'm sure you've branched. You're not just AC/DC straight that way, but still, you haven't really lost the taste for that music. You don't feel like you've outgrown it to where this is. This is old and this is way back here, and I'm going to take off and leave this behind. even though, as you get older, obviously you're growing, and I know at some point you're looking to probably write your own stuff, get into a band, play your own original stuff. I mean, at 15, I mean, obviously you have all the time in the world to do that, but you aren't forgetting where your inspiration came from.
Oh yeah.
And I think the foundation that we have, obviously, as far as we're concerned, with the age that we are, of course, is a great place to start, of course. But not leaving your foundation behind as, obviously the foundation, you build a house on top of all that good shit.
Yeah.
But, you have that, and you're not going to leave that behind as you're advancing in your music career. And I think that's a really good thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a great thing.
Because a lot of people nowadays, especially my age, they view it as stereotypical and kind of just like cringy. And I don't really understand why.
Right, well, yeah. Obviously we don't either, because it's the stuff that
So,
we grew up.
because it's a misinterpretation, and it's we're in a society where social media kind of dictates what people think about certain things, and it shouldn't be that way. It should, we've kind of gotten out of telling.
Thinking for yourself.
I think there's a lost generation somewhere. We still trying to figure out where it was and where they didn't teach their kids to think for themselves. It's kind of like, I don't know if it was kind of like maybe a college era where everybody thought they had to go to college, and then their kids kind of got not the I guess that's the presence of a parent like they should have.
Yeah.
So a lot of that may have gotten lost in that. Maybe, I don't know, but it's definitely there's definitely something lost in translation somewhere. So
Yeah. But also at the same time, we talk about it a lot on our show. The bands that we grew up with.
right.
I mean, you're talking AC/DC. Sabbath is literally this year they're putting a stamp on their career. They're calling it a career. AC/DC. I mean, Malcolm Young died a few years ago. Brian Johnson's not the original singer, and he had to take some time off when Axl Rose filled in because Brian was having his hearing problems. So Priest is in their 70s, Metallica's in their 60s. So a lot of the bands, and even like Testament and Exodus, those guys are 50s and 60s and stuff like that. Yeah. So I mean, the bands that we've been listening to since we were your age, I mean, they're going to be aging out sooner than later, of course. And we talk about it on the show a lot. Who's going to be next? Where's the next era coming from? And by and large, we do kind of worry that there aren't enough kids like you,
Right.
because exactly of what you said. Because social media, or even the mainstream, even mainstream when it just comes to music in general, is like this shit needs to stay back where it was. Why does that sound need to be kept alive? And it needs to be kept alive because, even your opinion, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. It's written from the heart. It's played with real instruments. It's played with passion. And like the guys that we were interviewing just before you, I mean, they've been playing music for 40 years, but I mean, they're playing the same style. They're still keeping they've got two lead guitar. They have the twin guitar attack like Priest and Maiden has going on. So there are bands out there keeping it alive, but I mean, there's going to have to be someone coming up behind it. So I know you aren't in a band yet, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you're not in a band yet. Do you have anybody around that? I mean, because you're playing guitar. I mean, do you have even like the formation of a band, like a bass player buddy, a drummer buddy? So I mean, you're just solo by yourself. Right?
Yeah, we live is pretty cool. There's not a whole lot of like musicians around. Musicians, it's mainly just school band.
Right.
We forget, but when it comes to like playing like T-Rex and Ozzy or Metallica, it's pretty hard.
Yeah, well, and if you're living in a more rural area, it's probably more country music, right? Yeah. So you did say you were kind of the outlier. So how often do you get to? Because I won't ask how far out you live. But, so how often do you get to come? I mean, do you ever get a chance to? Because I know you're 15 and you can't really go to bars and stuff like that. Because there's a band that we were introduced to last year. They're from the Murfreesboro area, and they're all, well, I don't know if they're all still in high school. I think one of them is
The
out.
youngest one, I think, is just turned 19.
Yeah, so I think he's out of school, but they're pretty much all school age, and last year in July, I can't remember if it was July or November, but last year was the first time they got to play a live show because like they're all underage, so no one would even let them into a building to even play, even though they're just there to play. So they were kind of handcuffed by their age. So obviously, I mean, you don't get to come downtown to like do any like open mics or play with anybody. I mean,
I did.
when do you get to play?
I make a lot of frequent stops to like different like guitar stores, like Twisted Station.
Okay. Okay.
With like Billy Sheehan and all them.
Okay.
And I do go down to Kid Rock's bar every now and then and watch them play. If I get the chance, sometimes they might.
Okay.
Pull me up there now and then.
Okay.
And,
all right, nice.
Yeah, pretty much every opportunity I can possibly take, whether it be in like 30 minutes away in Nashville.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Just try my best to expose myself a little bit.
Right. So
speaking of that, I have a friend of mine that does an open mic night in Columbia. It's a McCreary's. It's like a restaurant. It's like a pub. So I mean, they let people in there to eat. So I don't know why they wouldn't let people in there to play. So I mean, if you want me to try to hook him up with your name or whatever. Yeah. So he does. I think he does every Thursday there. I'll hook you guys up and see if there's something there he can help you out with. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm assuming that I haven't dug into it a whole lot, but I'm assuming that most of your stuff, YouTube, your social media presence, is how you're. Aside from getting able to get to the live venues, a lot of your social media presence, is that primarily how you're getting out when you can't make it into Nashville?
Yeah, exactly. I'm actually closing out with almost 5,500 subscribers, which is just insane.
Nice.
And I reached 5,000 like about a month ago, and I started like doing YouTube like a little bit after, so that's when it kind of like blew up.
Sure.
Because
well, yeah,
right,
I'm sure you got a lot of practice time in there.
Yeah.
That was a weird time.
Yeah,
God,
but that's when I just blew up. We got like 1,000 subscribers, and I got the ability to get like paid and stuff. It's just like it's very like a milestone.
Did it make it real? Oh shit, this is real. You know?
It was just insane, and that's where it's led to me now. And having an opportunity to come here and just be sitting here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, he's already gotten to play with Billy Sheehan.
He's already. That's already. We actually wanted to. Billy was one of the guys when I was in a band about your age, and that was one of my influences to play bass was Billy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like heartbroken. We didn't get to interview him. Like really?
Well, I'm sure everybody in that run.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got a bigger
15 segments in the day.
Yeah, bigger name. Of course, you're gonna have to leave somebody out. So, unfortunately, but yeah, it's always like like unfortunately with you talking about, I always say it's cool to get to play with your influences. Of course, you won't get to do that because Randy's gone. But I'm sure there's what other influences are out there that you could potentially play with.
Other influences, I love a lot of newer bands like Grace Bowers. She's fantastic. She's amazing. There's a band called Morning Guy based in LA. I don't know if you guys have heard of them or not.
What was the name?
Morning Guy.
No.
I haven't heard of them.
They are. It's like Megadeth Testament, just like meshed.
I'm in.
Definitely got to write that down.
They are fantastic. You guys need to check them out. But I'm really inspired by those two, like newer up and coming. And yeah, that's pretty much a lot of new influence. Obviously, I'm going to see Metallica next month at Nissan Stadium. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
I think that's something like I've seen them twice already, so it's kind of like, I'm not forking out that kind of money.
Yeah,
for
they kind of priced me out.
But I think if like you've never seen them, I think that's an experience you're probably going to want.
It's the first time I've ever.
Yeah, because you're looking at a band like we said in their 60s that you don't know and they're going to come around. I mean, I'm sure they will, but you just don't know that for sure. So it's kind of like, you don't know what. So I always tell people, I had Pantera tickets twice to see the original lineup. Missed them both times. So never got to go. Yeah, I tell people all the time, if you can make it go, don't let nothing stop you.
So, all right. So your goal is to be in a band. So if you're putting a band together, let's put your hypothetical shoes on. So you have a vision for a band. What is that vision? Is your vision to kind of stay with your foundation, to kind of move more modern, a little bit of both? What would be the ideal Peyton Spears band?
I think the ideal band in my eyes is a match between groups of like 2000s, like White Stripes,
Okay.
Black Keys, Full of Blood, and mix that with obviously T-Rex, Ozzy, Megadeth, like all those like good like metal 70s, 80s bands.
Yeah.
And I think if we match those two together and find really well-versed musicians that have the same vision as me, it's really going to be a good hard. But I think that'd be a really good idea.
Probably, well, maybe the same age, probably.
Yeah, same age. Yeah.
That is one of the things that we actually have a genuine concern about.
What's that?
Like we talked about, kids his age.
Oh yeah.
You know, we want to keep.
The sound alive,
It does sound selfish a little bit, and maybe it is a little self-serving for us to have that view, but musically, it's kind of we see it just as important as we think you see it to keep the sound alive. So I mean, I don't know if I don't know if you would want it to be a 3, 4, 5 piece, whatever. I think it might be a little difficult, and I think you're actually finding it kind of difficult to find people in the same age group who have the same kind of musical taste that you have.
Yeah.
So being a part of something like that, I mean, obviously, I hope you nail it. I absolutely do hope you get the chance.
Well, it's like, like you said, we talked to bands that are in that age,
Right.
a little bit older than you, but I mean,
Yeah, but not by much.
No, but I think, yeah, with your presence, like you said, we watch people like, Nita Strauss and people like that get popular off of doing what you're doing. So obviously, it can't be done.
I saw her get double scoop.
I did too. Yeah, she's great guitarist.
Oh, she's not, that's another thing too.
Sophie Lloyd's another one. She kind of got famous off of TikTok and YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
But it's great to see. It's also it's great to see. We talk about also two females finally getting their due. So, awesome too. So, absolutely.
And like I said, there's a lot of local bands that are in the area. So I mean, there's always connections. Man, it's going to be the main thing to connect with some of these bands, and they make it turn you on to oh, I know the drummer that used to play for here. He's not doing anything, or you may get a band made for you. So,
Well, the funny thing is, like, he did say he gets to play at Kid Rock's place.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Kid Rock hasn't really been. Well, Kid Rock's never really been metal as far as I'm concerned. But I mean, that's just one guy's opinion. But I mean, he hasn't really done much metal shit since American Metalheads.
Right.
So, but at the same time, it's still Kid Rock, and he's still got a place where he's able to
it's a name. So, man, that's the thing. You got a name.
So that's the thing. I mean, you're putting yourself out there, and that's the best thing to do. It really is. So that's why I asked the question, because I was hoping that you had a chance to do that. Because being 15, that one band we were talking about, they're constantly having doors slammed in their face, and that's not fair.
Yeah.
I don't think that's fair.
You ever thought about like America's Got Talent or anything like that? Or?
Oh yeah, I actually tried to audition for News 2 Musician of the Month.
Okay.
And I haven't really got anything back from them yet, but I tried to
Let's try to.
So I'm gonna stop you right here. There's a guy here, Bob Chiappardi. Find him. Introduce yourself.
Okay.
You'll thank me later.
Concrete. He works for Concrete Marketing.
Awesome.
Yep. Yeah, he's actually our 2 o'clock.
Well, we actually interviewed Bob last time we were here too. Like
we'll tell Bob about it.
Yeah, we'll tell, yeah. So
Thank you guys.
Absolutely.
like I said, this is the great place to especially with your age, is to network and get in with some people that may be able to help you point you in the right direction. And other things to. Like I said, you get a marketing guy that kind of knows what you're looking for, and make it push you in a direction to create something. I mean, this is a guy that was actually he was responsible for the changing of the sound of Pantera. So
Turn Pantera into the Pantera that
we know. Yeah.
Pantera 2.0 week.
Yeah. He's skydived with Dave Mustaine. I mean, this guy has been around for a long time. He's got a lot of connections. So you find him and introduce yourself.
But anything that's able to cultivate a talent like yours, we'll like the whole News 2 thing. I think we should.
Right.
I think I may send an email.
Yeah,
I'm dead serious. I'm not joking. Because I mean, if you've tried to do a submission and you haven't gotten anything back, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not really anybody, but I mean,
But if they get more than one email about some certain people,
Right.
maybe they'll be like,
Exactly.
oh, maybe we should check this person out.
right.
You know?
So we'll do what we can. So if you've sent something to them, I'll do the same thing.
And here,
I'll put it. I'll
take this
put it
with
in
you.
work.
Follow us, and then on Facebook and stuff, because our group page is just for that. It's for you musicians to you can shoot your videos through there, whatever you want to do. That's what we created that part for. We have a page that's public, but we have a group that's private, and we keep the private part for our friends and stuff.
Yeah, but yeah,
Or even the page. You can do it on the page. Yeah, do it. Actually, do it on the public page.
anything. Yes,
Because we have a page and a group, so you want to do it on the page where you can kind of get out there with more people.
yeah, anything.
Yeah.
You guys so much.
Yeah, feel
Yeah,
free.
man, that's what we did this for, is to build up the younger people, bands people don't know about, you know, all that kind of thing, is to try to build up the community. So
Yeah, that was one of my goals, being asked to come here and everything. And I was just like starstruck, because one of my main goals is like to find other younger musicians, or maybe just a little bit older, that play the same stuff and have the same like goal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you definitely can't question the talent.
there's another band.
Here,
There's
so-
a band you'll probably like. They're probably around your age too. It's called Hellraiser. I don't know if you've heard of those guys before. They're actually local.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot what those guys. They're like 16, 17. They kind of run into the same
They
thing.
might,
with-
yeah, they may be.
Because we actually tried to get them on a show, and they said, "Oh man, they told us we couldn't do it because it's a bar." I'm like, "Oh man, really?"
Right. Yeah.
So-
They're a couple of the members I think might be pushing 20.
Maybe by now, yeah.
But yeah, we follow them on social media, so we'll send them. They were actually at I can't remember if it was last year or the year before. They were in the Metalheads.
I think so. Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll send you. We'll try to
Yeah.
send
Like
you.
I said, hit us up on Facebook and stuff, and then we'll.
Yeah,
Because we post like we follow Metal Devastations whenever they post one, like tunnel or whatever, we repost it to everybody in there, because we got bands in there, and they'll post their stuff over, submit their stuff. So, I mean, they do instrumental stuff there too.
Yeah,
So,
they do. They do.
yes, I mean, you may be able to go on there with just being a guitar.
Yeah, because I think they're already announcing bands for this year, so it's probably too late to 25. But at the end of the year, they'll take submissions for 26. With you being local, they absolutely love having local talent.
And we could talk to Dana, man, about getting you on some shows that he does. So there's a local guy that does shows once in a while that we go do live streams from.
We don't have many connections, but we do have some.
We do have some, yeah.
We do have some.
We got enough to get your foot in the door anyway. So.
We're following the social media of yours. Yeah, feel free to whichever ones you do or don't want to is fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, anything we can do, especially someone who's just getting started. I mean, I'd love to see it take off.
Yeah. Like I said, you want the page probably, because the group, we do a lot of posting in there, so you'll get notifications probably every like 5 minutes. But so you probably don't want to get bombarded with that. Right. So the page is more just for album reviews when we're doing interviews and stuff like that. We don't do a lot. Unless it's like something big, we're promoting, like we're talking about Metal Devastation or something goes on there. But yeah, and we got about the same following on both. So.
We definitely appreciate you coming by, Peyton, and we look forward to talking again at some point.
Yeah. Maybe even in a different setting with 4 other guys around you. Who knows, man?
All right, man. Well, you got to know you do too. As I say, we're going to be following on the socials. We're going to keep an eye on it. We'll do everything we can.
Absolutely. Who do you guys want to go to?
Huh?
Who do you guys want to go to?
Oh, Bob Chiappardi.
Yeah, he is from Concrete Marketing. I don't know if he has a booth, but like I say, he'll be over here. I'm sorry, he's actually our 140. So
if you come around, if you ain't nothing going on at 140, you come around and see him. You'll know who he is.
Between 140 and 2, he'll be here. So I mean, we can make an introduction.
Yeah, I think I'll be free.
All right, man. Peyton, thanks a lot, buddy. It was great to meet you.
Thank you, man. Good luck with it, dude. Peyton Spears.
Spears, everyone. 15
Go
years
follow him on his socials, YouTube, TikTok, whatever he has out there. I think it's YouTube.
YouTube.
Did he have a TikTok? I don't remember. If
I
he
don't
asked
know,
him.
I don't know if it's a TikTok or not. But I mean, if you find, I'm sure if you find I'm sure if you find his YouTube, he probably has links to his other social media.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I'm sure he does. Nice to Christopher.
Zinzak.
Oh, Zinzak, this is across the way from Thin Lizzy Street.
Oh yeah. It's still fuzzy to me from that far, dude.
I need to go back to the eye doctor. But
Well, I can see him right there.
so yeah, man, I love
The youth. Man.
I know. No, I mean it's awesome. I love hearing about. Because that's the thing, is you don't hear about it very often. Because of course, every young generation is always like, dude, that's old people stuff.
Yes.
I mean, we went through it. We went through it when yes, sir. I mean, we went through it when we were coming up. I'm sure Peyton went through it with some certain things. But I mean, it's part of being young.
We just got one of the brothers.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
All right, man.
The other brothers sitting over there trying to sell a hooker team.
Oh, okay. I got you.
It's all marketing.
It's all good.
It's funny. Peyton's sister. I look. That's my little brother. Oh, that's cool.
It is ridiculous. We agree. We agree. For some reason, he's finally sticks to it. He couldn't make that work a career for himself. I mean, I really don't see why that works. It can happen for him.
Right. All right. Now we got which one?
Ron.
Okay.
Hey,
Oh, y'all are twins, correct?
We are twins.
You are twins, yeah. So welcome, Ron, to the show.
Thank you.
Ron Higgin, joining us.
I guess more famous for having the book he's got with him right here. So, biggest big hair metal or hair rock or hair book. Sorry, I get it right there. Yeah, I didn't put my glasses on. Yeah.
We changed the title around like 100 times, so it's been called about everything.
About everything.
Working title after working title.
Exactly.
Biggest big hair book on metal trip. There we go. So I'll get it down a minute. It is kind of a tongue twister. So what was the inspiration behind writing a book like this?
It's just love of music, and we started off with, I'm talking like a decade ago at least, doing like an 80s trivia. And that was before really, the nostalgia got big. In fact, I remember one of the publishers turned me down and said something like, if anybody cares about this in 5 years, I'll something ridiculous. And I wish I had kept this information. I'd be like, yeah, I told you.
You're right. You missed out.
But when I realized I did it, I love the 80s and I love 80s music, but my passion was always the hard rock, heavy metal.
Right.
And so it became easier to come up with my stuff by Sonic characters, basically. And so just started writing down questions, and it became a lot easier once the internet.
Yeah.
But there was a time where, it was just based out of memory, really. And my brother and I, we love going to concerts. And it just was a natural sort of fit because we've always loved trivia. I guess, our generation, Trivial Pursuit was always a big thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I loved hating that game.
Yeah, right.
I was doing some of the geography.
Yeah. I mean, all those, especially in that Genus edition, you're like, who the fuck is going to know this?
Right.
Yeah. Jeopardy contestants.
This one's for a wedge. Oh, well, that means I'm going to get it wrong. So,
Now we got to the point where, we started playing the kind of question you get away.
Yeah. So,
because those games would last
Go
like
forever.
6 hours.
Right.
Right.
Even the Monopoly game's over.
So without giving away the answer, what do you think is the most difficult question in the book?
Well, I've never been asked that. Probably any question we have about some of the more obscure 80s bands.
I'm going to ask that too.
So we tried to include easy questions that anybody who loves the music would get, you know. But then there's more difficult ones where, like, even today, I'm kind of like, what is the answer to that? I got to go, you know,
You forgot.
look in the back. I need the teacher's edition
Yeah,
of,
teacher
the,
edition.
of the textbook. But it's been fun. We've met a couple of artists that we've given copies to, like Sam Pulley from Danger Danger,
Yeah,
gave him
okay.
a copy. Tony Harnell from TNT. Now,
Did they,
ever read it?
did they filter? Where are the questions about us?
Yeah. You know, hopefully they didn't.
Have a glossary or a referral index or something. Oh, the tour is on page 95.
It was funny because I have an electronic copy. I do that. I just pull up the electronic copy. I just did it on my phone, and then I search for a name.
Yeah, because you can do Control F and type it in.
Yeah,
and
and it'll go right
highlight
to it. I'm like, oh, there it is.
I like that.
Because I noticed Brian Forsythe from Kicks is over there. So I know he's in here somewhere. So I looked it up. I'm like, yep, there he is, right here on page blah blah blah.
That's pretty cool. So, I guess like my question would be now is that if anybody ever like approached you about maybe doing this as like an app or anything?
For what?
For like turn this into like an app or anything like that? Or?
You know, no one has approached this, but I actually entertained that idea even before we wrote the book. I work in sciences as a data analyst, and there was a young guy that was real into programming stuff, so he could make phone apps. So I approached him like, "Hey man, could you do this?" And he could, but he was, I don't know, 20 years younger than me, and he had no passion.
Gotcha.
And it would have been probably a lot of work. I think it would be a good idea. I've seen some apps. Yeah, there's a few I've seen out there. Not great. A lot of repetitive questions stuff. But yeah, that's a possibility down the road.
So the ones I always remember playing, this was music in general. I didn't really like
Right, yeah.
dive right into metal. Or
yeah.
It's more of a music, like in general, with like places about Michael Jackson and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, hey, Metallica or Iron Maiden.
I do remember years ago downloading some apps.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I can't remember the name of it now. But
Yeah.
So,
You had a hard time finding the music gigs.
right, or even maybe like trying to connect with one of the the trivia games that go into like the bars and stuff too. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of something I
Was it like
yeah, because when I go to Buffalo Wild Wings, that's the first thing I ask for is like, hey, let me get a board,
It's funny you say that because my son works in a restaurant, and I asked him to talk to his boss to see if we could come in and do a trivia night, and he actually said, yeah, that'd be good. We haven't done it yet because it was right before COVID, of course.
Right.
And then we had everything planned out, and it fell apart, and now it's kind of. We need to bring that back. So
are you guys from the area? Or?
We're actually from Cincinnati.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh yeah, Michigan guy. You gotta ignore.
Well,
I'm Tom.
my kids went to.
I've been to Cincinnati. That's a cool city.
Yeah.
It really is.
My kids went to University of Alabama, so
Okay.
I'm not an Ohio State fan, and
He's all right.
He's all right.
most of the people in Cincinnati are. So I'm already, they already don't like me. So.
He ain't a real Ohio guy.
Yeah.
He's
probably from Covington.
Right.
You would think that being in that city, there would be a lot more, opportunities for having trivia nights and stuff like that. It's big around here, dude. Like almost every restaurant you go into,
It is Cincinnati. Yeah. We've got a ridiculous number of breweries. I remember so in the summers my brother and I bartend at an amphitheater so we can see more concerts.
Their city.
Yeah, and it actually was one. It's been around since 1986. It's one of its first. But I was serving a guy from Memphis, and I was like, "Well, what do you think of the city?" And he was like, "I can't believe how many breweries you guys have." He was like, "We have like 5, and you guys have like 500." But they all do.
A microbrewery counts.
Yeah, it's Cincinnati is known kind of for being beer because they have such a German influence, and so they've always had beer related to Cincinnati. So But that's a good idea. Probably, see if we can get into those kind of things. We're working on a follow up to this book.
I was gonna ask you
So
about that, 'cause,
what time frame does that one go from?
Yes, I do, yeah. No, great.
Well,
Taking your questions.
No.
I mean, this it pretty much goes from kind of the 70s up to now.
Oh, it does.
But
Okay.
it's focused on the bands that were really big in like the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
See, that's what's so like we talk about all the time with heavy metal. Heavy metal is like the father of it. You got all these subgenres and everything else. So, I mean, you could do, new metal versions. I know people cringe at me. Oh, new metal. It's kill yourself. But it was an important time in history. So I mean, do a new metal version. With thrash, you could even do a subgenre specific version.
Well, that's true.
Even if there's already Testament or Exodus.
Well, that's the reason I asked, because it's called the Big Hair Book. So I was thinking, it's got to be 80s,
Right.
90s.
Yeah, it's primarily the big hair bands. Yeah. I always hated that term.
I did
because-
too.
So many of them.
I hate that.
Some people
I
are
also,
okay with it.
I hate that. And I also hate glam metal. I was like,
Exactly. And it's all the same, sort of. And I get it. I mean, Motley Crue, especially when they were doing like the Home Sweet Home, they were very glam. Then they went sort of the leather, for girls. But at the end of the day, it's all rock and roll. And so what we kind of use our basis is any videos that were played on MTV's Headbangers Ball.
For the kids out there, MTV Headbangers Ball.
right, yeah. Referred to our Ricky Rackman episode 2 years ago.
That's right.
Right. MTV, people used to actually go and watch videos on television, not on YouTube.
Right.
But so if you remember back then when that was big, you would see a Bon Jovi video followed up by an Anthrax video.
Right.
And it was all
Those were the days.
metal.
Yeah.
So I I don't like to really refer to things by subgenre.
Sure.
Right.
And to me, it's just all metal. So there are
That's kind
questions.
of the way we are.
Yeah, there's questions about AC/DC. They're not really a metal band, but
because there's nothing wrong with being a hard rock
Well,
band.
we've always said too. I think there's like a fine line
Sure, there
between
can
hard
be.
rock and heavy metal, anyway. So I mean,
Exactly.
you should
Yeah, so I've
just
always
be
thought-
included into one or the other.
I've always thought AC/DC was hard rock. I've always thought Van Halen was hard rock.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with it.
No.
It's fantastic.
No, Eddie Van Halen was a heavy metal guitarist in
In
a hard rock band.
Yes, there you go. See, that's yeah. I think that's a little more accurate.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's so many good hard rock bands.
And there's still good hard rock bands out there. So I mean, if you're basing it off that, then you've got continuous trivia still working. So,
Oh, yeah.
So
Well, and a lot
you
of
can
it-
make 20 additions of that probably.
Yeah, a lot of these bands, that were big in the '80s are still viable. They're still touring. They're still doing things, and so I like to talk about the W's, right? White Lion, White Snake, Winger, Warrant.
Yep.
And for the most part, most of them are still out.
Yeah.
White Snake.
In some incarnation.
Yeah, it's right. There might not be any original members.
Right. Yeah.
Foreigner, but
Lou Graham's coming back for like half a show.
Right.
But I just seen LA Guns last year. So I mean, so it's kind of like I was actually surprised. I was like, well, we were in Michigan, and I was like, man, I gotta see a show at the Machine Shop because of it being the Machine Shop.
Yeah.
And I was like, who's gonna be there? So we looked it up. Like, oh yeah, LA Guns is there. Cool. We'll go
and
see
it's
LA
still
Guns.
Phil Lewis. It's still
Still Tracy Guns.
Tracy Gunn. So
And we're to the point now where there's actually going to be only one LA Guns again.
Yeah. So yeah,
true.
Riley can't. Steve Riley can't. Yeah. So yeah.
So we're going to get back to one LA Gun. And if there's nothing foreign, but not a hard rock band. We should talk about foreigners. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being a hard rock band.
Well, I mean, who was this singing from? Was that is it Ted Poley singing for them?
for who? Oh no, that was Kelly Hansen.
Kelly Hansen. Yeah. Hurricane. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I was like, man, I know it's one of those guys.
Now, I'd be the only idiot at a meet and greet for Foreigner holding a Hurricane and a Dawkins CD for
For Kelly.
Pilsen and for Kelly.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about Joe Pilsen in there too. Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, I'm already in the Dawkins.
Yeah, exactly.
That actually kind of is hard to believe.
Well, I think once you got out of back for the attack era of Dokken, you kind of like ran into this, a whole different. that's a whole different band. Dokken was a whole different band after that album, I think. So it kind of went ballad, ballady Dokken.
Well,
So it was like every other song was a ballad. I'm like, come on, man. Like,
Yeah, I think a lot of that might have been due to Don's voice.
probably so.
I think it was
Out of
even,
necessity.
it might have been Filson that said, I thought he would eventually morph into like a adult contemporary artist because he's a good singer. He just can't hit the high notes like he used to. And so it's kind of played out, but he finally said that he thinks he's going to retire in about a year.
I actually saw that. I saw it. Well, the funny thing is, I'm actually surprised he's still alive. George Lynch didn't kill him.
Well, that's true too. So.
You make a good point. You make a very good point. But weirder things happen. Like Stevie Pearcy is now touring with Roy DeMartini.
Yeah,
I know. And I don't think anyone would have had that on their bingo card at this point in time. Yeah, no.
Or the Pantera would be touring again.
Right. Which I've seen him recently with Lamb of God. Great show. I mean, I think it's good though because you're getting those live songs out to people that never got to hear them.
Right.
So,
and it's not like they got some buddy on the guitar that I mean it's
Zach Wild.
Zach Wild. So
somebody that knew Dime. So
right, that's the thing. They went out and when they did that, it was twofold. It was a name, but it was also a friend.
Yes.
Who knew everything. Mm-hmm. And of course, everyone was like, well, it's not going to be Dime. Well, no shit, it's not going to be Dime. Zach's not going to go out there and trying to be Dime. He's just doing a tribute for a fallen friend. That's what this whole thing is. Charlie Benante, same thing. Charlie Benante, friends with Vinnie Paul, friends with the band. So they went out and got genuine friends who just happen to have name and talent.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Yeah. And why not, right? I mean, if people still want to hear the songs, you still have the original singer and bass player, and so okay, yeah, you're right. The Abbott's aren't in it. I get it, but it's still a very viable.
It would be like that would almost be like expecting Metallica to quit and Cliff Burton.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
But I mean, a portion of all that's just going to their estates, though. So I mean,
And they got the blessing. They got the blessing of the estates.
Yeah, it's not like
Really, they got that.
it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks.
Right.
That's exactly what we're
As long
talking
as they're
about.
not dishonoring them some way.
But the thing I was telling him, it's like when I went to the show, and it's like, hey, for the 6 people that didn't like it, there were definitely 30,000 people, 30,000 people there that enjoyed it.
Right. It's like the people whine about kids being sellouts, and you say, yeah, we sell it every night.
That's right, yeah.
And it's trying every time you go to screen with a $100 bill.
Yeah, Jason Newsted said the same thing about Metallica behind the music. He said, yeah, we sell out every seat in the house, every night, everywhere we play.
Plus, I mean, if you're
It's such a weird.
well, I mean, if your expectations to any band that they're going to sound the same throughout their whole career, you're probably going to get disappointed.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
yeah.
But that's the funny thing is they have leaned all into that skid. AC/DC
Yeah.
guys. I think it was Angus Young who was like, I get pissed off when people say we put out 11 albums that sound exactly the same, and we really put out 12 albums.
Right.
Love that shit. I read that, I'm like, that's somebody who's like definitely comfortable in their own
Exactly.
skin.
And in reality, we all know, the later albums don't sound anything like, Power Rangers or something. But they were great then, they're great now. So, who cares?
The thing is,
They're still holding on.
the thing is, like, if we're driving or whatever, and AC/DC goes on, we're not skipping it. I mean, we're listening to it because it's
In fact,
AC/DC.
you're turning it up,
Probably, yeah. Because I mean,
Well, I mean, it is the law.
yeah, it is.
It is.
I mean, they did crack the ceiling in Memphis. So. Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, just like Disturbed burned the Bulls championship banners.
Yeah. Cool
That's
deal.
funny as hell.
So you said you guys are working on a follow up to this, or
Yeah, I think we're going to call it Even Bigger Big Hair Book Club.
that's
You have to have like the teased out poison powder.
That's a good idea.
Bigger
Yeah.
bigger hair, yeah, even bigger hair, yeah.
I like that.
Maybe with the same skeleton, maybe with some like rouge on it.
That's hilarious. 'Cause we talked about using the exact same cover with different colors, but I like the idea that you're the big hair and that's good.
Yeah, bigger hair, yeah.
So that'll be
You start.
Check your stores in the next decade.
Anytime anybody talks about that age of the metal industry, I always think about the boys that looked at the cat right there covered.
Oh, yeah.
That comedian was talking about. You know, it was like 6 months before I figured out I've been playing with myself to girls, the guys, you know. And he said, then it was 3 more months before I quit.
Right. And now I'm trying to remember when Aerosmith wrote "Dude Looks Like a Lady."
Right.
That was written. I want to say it was Vince Neil. They saw Vince
Yeah,
Neil. It was either Vince or Bret Michaels. That's why when you're talking boys, I'm like, it's either Bret Michaels or Vince. I think it was Vince Neil. And they saw his blonde hair and thought, oh, she's cutie. And then turned around. Vince Neil.
Yeah. There's a picture with Metallica and them talking about, hey, here's James Hetfield with a bunch of groupies.
Well,
like
there's
Nikki Sixx.
there's also that Metallica meme floating around that said, you know, we were on tour in 1980 something. We saw this group of whores at a concert until we walked up and realized it was poison.
Yeah.
Yeah. Best night of our lives.
Yeah.
Well, it was definitely a different era. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean it was bad by any stretch. I mean, there was so much good music out, and it was one of those things. I think, in a weird way, I think it just was an evolution, like an era that just kind of had to happen.
Yeah. And then it kind of had to die because it got to the point where, like,
Either over died, sure.
yeah. I mean, if you think about some of the early 90s, a lot of the new bands come out, they had the look, not necessarily the talent on the songs. But as long as you had the video with this and your hair like
That's exactly
What
what
we were
you've
talking about,
always said. You've always said that. It was they
'Cause
just flooded the market with like cookie cutter.
I always
party
hated.
parties. Yeah.
I always hated the concept of grunge killed hair metal. Like, no, it didn't. Hair metal killed hair metal.
and not even it was the hair metal, the record companies.
Exactly.
Because they were putting signing bands that, you know, were just average, you know.
Well, we talk about that with musicians now because, like I said, I don't know if you probably we haven't said this to you, but our show is about building up up and coming bands. That's what we do. And this is probably the only time out of our elements when we're here is interviewing people like Martin Montmaker, you know, Christopher Williams later, or you know.
I mean, we
got bigger people here, but this is the only time we ever get to do that because we're not somebody like we don't want to go outside of what we do. Like, do we talk to bigger bands? We have, but it's not something that we go out of the way to do. It just kind of naturally comes up, and we conversate, and we're like, "Yeah, man, come on the show, we'll talk about it." You know, but
in the last couple months this year, we've gotten to talk to Onslaught. We got to talk to Brainstorms.
Yeah, so their bands have been around for 40 years.
Yeah,
you know, that's been around. But
and I hate when people say, like, you know, rock is dead, no, it's dead. No, it's still out there. My son, he's 22. He just invited me to come see 4 local bands in Cincinnati. These guys are all in their low to mid 20s.
nice.
All rock, all guitar, not a keyboard to be found. Thank God.
Whether it be a 88 keys,
Right.
or one of these.
Yeah. Well, true.
No laptops. I mean, no auto tune. It was just guys, drums,
Talent.
guitars, and talent. And they were just young dudes, you know. I mean, they make it, who knows, you know, maybe, but they're all trying. So
We were just talking to Peyton Spears. The kid's 15.
wow,
Inspired by the music that we all love.
Yeah.
You know, Randy Rhoads is one of his
really,
influences. Yeah, kid's 15 years old, still in high school.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We talk about a lot. I think the difference between what happened in the 80s and what's happening now is the labels are more focused on, hey, let's sign like 18, 20 bands that we can handle pushing instead of signing 50 and we'll push 5. You know? I think that's kind of like the change that we're seeing as far as, because we got a bunch of record labels we talk to, so, and they're like, no, man, we don't want to sign a bunch of people. We just want like 20, because unless they hire somebody else to promote, they can say, so we're a new PR person, and we'll take on a couple.
it's hard with digital, you know, because once society decided that music should be free, and that really hurt artists, everybody. And one thing I've heard some of the more established artists complain about with record companies now is they won't take a chance on a young band and give them like 3 or 4 albums to figure it out.
Right.
Whereas in the old days, that's what they would do. And so the first couple albums sometimes weren't that great. I mean, look at Kiss. Although their first album has great songs, they didn't really hit their stride until they released Alive.
Yeah.
And once people understood, like, they were a live band, this is what you get, we're like, oh, I get it now. And that thing blew up. But, today, by the second album, you probably would have been dropped.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. But it's the whole, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
It's just like, give somebody time to establish some sort of career or reputation, whatever. I mean, give them a chance to at least show you what they can do.
Yeah, and even if you're a great artist, taking that into a studio, right, and learning that whole thing, and it takes time.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. I'm just glad to see the kids. There are still bands, younger bands starting out.
Yeah, we've interviewed a few bands in their early 20s. So, I mean, So they're out there. It's just,
and even the stuff we like is still very popular in England, and Europe and Sweden.
Oh man, half that stuff in there's still on my playlist. So.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, I have 450 cassettes from that era, and I still have them. So.
Yeah, I know. We were the cassette era, weren't we?
Yeah, we were.
And mine all. I don't know if yours did this, but so many of mine just got this really high, squeaky sound, like, well, what is that? You're unlistenable now.
They went symphonic without telling us.
Yeah.
That's right.
At least my CDs and my vinyl held up.
That's true. Yeah.
They
So,
just-
I have a shit ton of CDs too.
Almost,
Actually, whenever the CD era came about, I started duplicating what I had on cassette with CD. So I had both.
Trying to preserve it.
Well, yeah, because if you leave a cassette in a car, it melts.
Yeah, right.
You'll literally do it.
You can leave a CD in there.
I remember reading about something called CD rot, but I've never had any of my old CDs have problems.
Yeah.
They do play fine.
I remember too. You used to go and get them like if they started skimming, you could take them to some store and they clean them and spin them for you.
Well, like at Silver Street.
Yeah, you used to do that.
You could go for $2 and they would polish up your CD.
Yeah, get the scratches out of it. Yeah, get the scratches out of it. And stuff.
And if you take oh shit, it would look like it would never been played once.
Right. Wow. That's cool. Yeah, I've held on to all my stuff. When I pay money, like, you can get a digital copy of poetry, you can get digital music. I would actually be able to hold something in my hand if I paid money for it. You know what I mean?
I still like buying
I listen to Spotify and stuff, but I still buy albums and CDs because I'm like you. I want it in my hand. But you don't get the artwork and stuff that's inside.
And you're paying for air. I'm like, I don't want to pay for air.
Right.
I want to pay for something I can.
But it's what was it? Premium air. I seen a video about that where a girl had her hair. It's like, oh yeah, pay $250 to get premium air put in my tires. My husband was like, what are you talking about?
Someone saw her.
Yeah. Oh, it was a prank on him, but it was still hilarious.
Yeah.
She was like, but they said it was premium air.
We gotta love it. We gotta love it.
So I know we got like 10 minutes left, but you guys, I know it's available at Target because that's one I see, but is it available like everywhere else, like as far as Amazon?
Yeah, it's Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all that good stuff.
Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, right. It's an actual bookstore that you can walk into and get a book.
And by book, what we mean is,
yeah, an actual book.
Books have pages with words printed on them.
They come from a library that actually have books on the shelf and not laptops.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think it's cool that's
and we try to
I'm
get
actually going to buy that. I think
I'm going to too.
Yeah, I get paid Wednesday.
We've got us over there with the artists. So
actually, I got $20.
Right by Brian Forsyth and
okay, we gotta break it. I'm gonna go buy one. Yeah. I like trivia. I love trivia anyway.
Well, and it's not just trivia. The one mistake we made, and we'll fix the next time, other than the skeleton's hair, is we would make a note on it that it also includes stories.
Yeah, cool.
So it's not.
We love stories
because otherwise it's like, well, yeah, I can just find all that on the internet. Well, you can. I mean, but you got to search for it.
Yeah.
And half of it's not true. But
exactly.
We do have between every chapter, with 15 chapters, between every chapter we tell a story about bands that we have either saw in concert or we've met and we've done it with a hopefully an undertone of humor.
Right.
So my son was reading about halfway through and said, "Dad, I just noticed something. Answer D. Is that always wrong?" I'm like, "Yes, son." And he's like, "Because they're kind of ridiculous." The answers, I'm like, "Yes, son, that's right." So we try to make every question have a stupid answer.
Well, yeah, I mean, you always that's the trivia. I mean, you should have.
Yeah, and that was the fun part, right? Sure. And so we do try to institute a little bit of humor throughout, and so we think it's entertaining, and most people that see it like it. This is trying to get it in front of people.
Yeah,
Because there are a lot of people who want Amazon searching for it. So these podcasts help, and we try to do sales in person and record stores.
Record store is a place where
You can buy actual
Where they
vinyl
sell
records.
records. Now by records,
yeah, let's say addendum A, addendum B.
And so the bonus is when you can find us in person, like here, we sell them for $15 and we autograph them.
Yeah.
If you get it on Amazon, it's $20.
Or you don't get
You don't get an autograph. So because of course Amazon wants their cut.
Right.
So yes, kids, when you're out and about, if you're in Nashville today, come on out.
Yeah.
Check out the Rock N Pod.
Yeah.
And kids being outside means putting your phone down and leaving the house.
Yes. or at least put your AirPods in with your phone as you travel
Right.
to the Rock N Pod.
Go outside.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Nah, man, we
Especially
appreciate
on a
it.
day like this. Jesus.
Yeah.
We appreciate your time, man. Like I said, I'm gonna swing by in a few minutes.
I
when
just appreciate you guys taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna have to check out your podcast.
Your guys were actually a last minute add on for us.
Was it?
So
Okay.
they were just like, hey, anybody else interested in
It was.
and I had to,
We
Yeah.
rode in.
I had to look up you guys. I was like, oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
Talk
we
to
rode
somebody.
you guys in.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate it so much, and you guys are definitely kindred spirits, I can tell. Might be a little younger than I am, but
Well, I'll be 50 this year, so
Okay. I still got you by
a couple years.
Yeah,
a few years.
I'll be 47.
Yeah. So.
I hit the steak sauce this year.
Hit the steak sauce. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Heinz 57. Not the A1. He said Heinz 57.
Yeah. Right. So it's all good, guys. Thanks again.
Yes, thank you.
And best of luck on your guys' podcast and everything.
Like I said, I'll be by to grab a book when I get.
Yeah.
Speaking of autographs, we're trying to get stuff on our guest list and stuff. So
Cool.
I always like to get those, bring them when we're out here. So
That's a great idea, actually.
it's just a memorial that
Yeah.
memorabilia that we were here, who was here. Because
Yeah, I'm all about
they
it.
do this 5 years. I'll forget who was here 5 years ago.
But, yeah, I still have, with my books and CDs, I've got drumsticks, guitar picks, and all this stuff.
Okay.
It's like, I cherish that stuff.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Appreciate
Appreciate
it.
you very much.
Yes, sir.
I didn't catch your name.
Jason.
Jason and Chris.
Hey, Chris. All right, guys.
All right. Ron Higgins, he of the Ron and Don Higgins author group.
Yeah. The big hair book of metal trivia. If you're a metal fan, play some trivia from the 80s and 90s. Pick that up at, like you said, Target or Amazon or wherever. Wherever books are sold, I'm sure. So,
Yeah, that's probably going to be. I'm probably going to pick up a copy too if I can get it both autographed. $15 and then we got to break until 1.
I can't see that. I need to.
It's been a
I'm going to back out for a minute.
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out. So about 25 minutes from now, and then we are actually going to after Cheney, we're gonna break the video feed, and we're gonna have
A new video feed.
A new video start up.
So get us through the rest of the day.
For the second half of our day here at the Rock N Pod Expo here in Nashville, Tennessee, at the Nashville Fairgrounds. So you want to go walk around for a little bit, get some autographs, buy some shit?
Yeah, we got, how long we got?
We got until 1 o'clock.
We took a bathroom break for sure.
So if you guys will bear with us, we will be back. So we'll be back at 1 o'clock for our Cheney Crab interview before we end the first segment of the Saturday show here at the Rock N Pod Expo here at the Nashville Fairgrounds. That'll hit you podcast. So we'll be back at the top of the hour, so stick around.
You gonna cut the camera off?
I'm just closing. It's still on. There it is.
We got 2 new TikTok followers.
Oh, God.
Right on.
We're taking some drinks.
Hey. Oh yeah, you go get your autographs for the.
Blackwood came by and dropped us off. That band Blackwood, they came by and dropped us off.
Let's put everything in there, man.
A couple CDs. I kind of got an idea. I know you might want to those. Well, good thing is all of our other interviews are pretty close to each other. We're going to have to keep them at 15 minutes. Well, I mean, we already talked about it once before, so we got a lot. There was
Thing that he was involved with, he wanted to talk about.
one of the things that didn't work out.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask him why it didn't. So.
Yeah.
That and I wanted to know how the show that he was doing. I never got to see
Love it. Yeah, she still would love it. Really? We talk all the time. All right,
I did get all of theirs. So thankfully, said they got money. I'll try to get it back.
Who's it?
Dave gave me a shirt.
Oh,
I'll try to get it back to him.
guess who's back? Back again.
There she is. That's us. Hey, how are you? How are you?
How are you?
Not too bad.
Is it cool if I set my...
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, wherever you find a spot.
Help if I turn my camera on. How's the day been for you so far, Janie?
Great, I just got here.
Oh, were you your first one?
You're my first one. Yeah, so you're gonna be fresh.
Nice. So we get to ask the questions before everybody else gets to repeat them.
Exactly. Before I'm just on answering them. Have you guys been here like all day?
Since like 9:30, I guess.
I got here at 9:30. First interview was at 10.
Damn.
We were here yesterday for a game setup and everything, and we got to talk to Brian Slagle for about a half hour. So.
Oh yeah, Brian's my boy.
Oh yeah. Brian is.
You have to. You're like contracted to say that, right?
Well, kind of. A little bit, yeah.
I mean, technically, yeah.
Technically, yeah, he does. But I'm doing his podcast later too. I'm excited to do that.
No, so that's awesome.
See, I love that too about him because he's pushing the bands that he's got under his wing.
He's not. Yeah, it's good to hear that he's not like, all right, well, I signed you. I'll see you at the road show.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. He came to the studio the other day when checked out some of our tracks because we're recording an album right now. So he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Cool. So I guess my first name would be the thing that really stuck out to me because I'm a Veil Maya fan. So how did that come about for auditioning for those guys?
Do you want me to talk into this mic?
Yes.
So the way that I auditioned for Veil of Maya, I've known those guys for a very long time. Actually, my husband used to be in Animals as Leaders. And, we were on tour with Veil, and then we met on the tour that he did with Veil of Maya. So Sumerian, who Veil of Maya signed to, asked me and my husband to do like a remix of one of Veil of Maya's songs, and it was Unbreakable. So I've loved those guys forever. I've always known if their vocalist Brandon didn't want to be in the band anymore, I'm trying out for that band. So I knew the minute that they announced it, I knew Naveen had like the instrumental for me to go and record vocals to. So I was like, let's go home and let's make a video for this because I want to try out for the band. And it just happened to go viral. And then I actually did try out for the band from there. And it was between like me and Lucas and one or two other people.
So you technically had an audition and then a callback? Is that, okay.
Yeah, I had an audition. So they put out a song called Mikasa, and there's a Cheney Crab version of that song that I have on a hard drive that I actually listened to maybe like 6 months ago, and I was like, damn, this song's pretty good. I did a good job. But you know what? They wanted a singer. They knew the direction they were going in. They wanted someone who kind of sang like in the periphery, and I told their management, like, I was 100% honest. I was like, I don't want to do that in this band. I've loved that band for so long. I don't think that the fans will react well to me.
Yeah.
To a woman stepping in and changing the band so drastically, I don't want to be the person to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that affected the outcome, but the outcome couldn't have been better for me.
So that's a testament to you because you just gave up basically a dream job
Yeah.
because you knew the fans would not respond.
Yeah. Yeah.
So not many people would do that. They would probably just take it and be like, who cares?
That's very true.
That's a huge show of respect.
I just never wanted to be that person. I don't want to. Some people are okay stepping into bands and taking over. I don't necessarily feel that comfortable performing material that's not mine. Like I need my heart to be in it, and I really realized that through that.
Well, I think bands like Linkin Park are starting to go through that now because they thought they had something going, and now it's starting to show where people's like,
I can't imagine how huge of a thing
and she's
that
a
was
great
for
singer.
everyone.
She's a great vocalist.
She's amazing. I mean, it's undeniably
But she's not a Chester, so it's kind of like,
So people are always going to be mad about that.
Exactly, and especially that kind of goes back to what you said, though. You're stepping into, a female stepping into a male, vocalist's role, and that kind of can go either way. Luckily, it works out for bands like Arch Enemy,
Right.
bands like that. But
Well, Arch Enemy, I mean, when they switched out, because Arch Enemy wasn't big before.
exactly, yeah. True.
When Angela came in and she was the baddest bitch who had been on the microphone in metal, it's like holy crap, this one.
Well, the funny thing was, is by the time I had actually discovered Arch Enemy in the 90s, I actually had to go back and listen to the stuff they did. I didn't even realize, it took me a little bit to realize this, oh shit, Emma's not even the first vocal.
I
I didn't know that for a while. She was the one who really.
Yeah, she is the Arch Enemy.
She is. But I mean, let's not fuck around. I mean, shit, you got
Yeah, that's the thing is that it all worked out for the best for me because through doing that, I didn't want to start a band with him. I never wanted to do that because he was in Animals as Leaders, Animosities, played with Machine Head, White Job for a Couple. It's like I didn't want to unfairly get a spot in a band. Through that audition, I proved myself to myself and to everyone else that I'm I have this thing going on by myself without the people that I know, and that's really what it took for us to start Metalheads.
I want to say, I think as a band collectively, Entheosis went through a lot of roadblocks, I would say, a lot of obstacles. Your accident, of course, and it looks like you guys had a little rotation with guitars that probably kind of set some things back. And so, what would you attribute to overcoming that and still being able to do what you're doing?
I would attribute the overcoming of that to the fact that Naveed and I have been a team in this since the absolute beginning. And I also want to credit our manager, who we don't talk about a ton because he stays off the internet. He's not an internet guy. He's working in the shadows, But Steve Davis, Steve manages Cannibal Corpse, Whitechapel, Lorna Shore. He started managing my band 2 months after we formed. We're talking about a guy who did not have to take on a band like my band. He was managing fucking Cannibal Corpse. He could not be in a band that was not making any money that just started 2 months ago, right? But that man has believed in Naveed and I since the band's inception. He fell in love with Naveen. Naveen got on the phone with him. We had no fucking idea who Steve was. We were really naive. Naveen, it's a famous phone call. He was like, "We don't want a manager." That's what he said to Steve. And Steve just respected the fuck out of that, and it just ended up working out. And so Steve and Naveen, having those two, and me, as a trifecta, that's what's kept us going, because Naveen and I won't let each other quit. And Naveen also plays guitar, and he's always written most of our material, so it was very easy for us to move on from the guitar player thing and all of that stuff. So really it's those two, and it's the collective of other people who have believed in us along the way. Metal Blade, we were just talking about Ryan, and yeah.
Ryan Slagle is definitely a man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just looking at the history of the bands, man, it's just unreal.
I mean, we're talking about the first fucking guy to like get Metallica.
Exactly.
Yeah. He knows a thing or two about music.
Yeah, they get a little bit of something, over the year.
Yeah, you may have heard of him.
So I kind of want to, I don't want to touch a lot on this because I know this kind of stuff is probably going to beat to death, but my thing was I didn't really see a lot of this when I was putting through your accident in general. Did that change your vocal style at all, or?
No, luckily. I was so worried about it. It didn't. Luckily, it was just like it happened on my nose and everything, so it was all like in physical appearance, and nothing happened in my mouth. So, aside from my lip movement, which it was very hard for me to move my lips in any way for like 6 months. So aside from that, no, it didn't affect my vocals. And that's actually the reason why I haven't gone in and had more corrective surgery on my nose, or like more plastic surgery from it, is because
it could alter something.
Precisely. I talked to a plastic surgeon and he's like, listen, first of all, you're an ethnic-looking person. We don't want to change your nose and like have it be different. And then he was like, and then there's the possibility that you won't be able to sing in the same. Like you're a singer, you don't want to mess this up.
Did it change your air intake? Like, what did it change your air intake? Like, what was the
when you mess with your nose, so every time you change your nose, it can affect the way that your vocals sound. So like, for instance, like doing a high. When I shoot a high off my nasal passage, or when I'm doing like a falsetto singing, that it can change the way that sounds. So it does a lot of the times. Yeah, it has an effect on people's voices.
I just had sinus surgery last year, so I can relate.
Oh yeah, really? What was your surgery?
Yeah, you used to sound a hell of a lot better.
You can't sing anymore.
I actually had a New York accent before.
And then it became Southern.
Oh wait, isn't Bronx and South New York? So
that's funny that you said that. I actually talked to a guy at work the other day. He came in and he had an accent. It wasn't like a accent or whatever. And I said, oh, I would have guessed Australian. And he said, well, it's deep South Australian. So I'm like, wow. Because he did have like a twang. He had been here so long, he's developed that Nashville twang. So.
I know I'm starting to develop it. I've been here for 3 years, and I catch myself saying,
so you actually live here now?
Yes. I do, because our bass player, Evan Brewer, is from he's from Nashville, but he lives in Hendersonville.
I used to play hockey out for a few years before my body gave up.
Oh yeah, it used to be a lot more barren than it is now, right?
Well, that's kind of with the entire mid-state. Yeah. It used to be a lot more barren.
Totally, yeah.
That's the funny thing is like a lot, and we've talked about it with a couple other bands even today. Is like people want to equate, this part of the state of Nashville, especially with just country music, not realizing how much. Because you're here, Jack Gibson of Exodus lives here. Art Barrett lives here. Steph lives here. Whitechapel's from Knoxville.
Are you guys familiar with Mark Lewis? He's a producer. He produces our stuff, Whitechapel. He's worked with Black Dahlia, a bunch of bands, but he lives 2 blocks away from me.
Oh, wow.
It's like, dude, everyone, I think that Nashville is starting to be recognized as being like a hot spot of metal.
I think it is now. We were just talking about that because I think anywhere from Nashville east, like we've talked to a lot of bands that are, that way, and it's just crazy. It's like the amount of bands that people probably don't know that are like right here in your backyard.
I mean, our management moved here, our booking agent is moving here. Like the industry is starting to
move,
and it's because honestly, like we play metal, we make a modest income, but we can afford to like have houses here, and like in California where we moved from. Sorry guys, I know that's.
No, you're good.
I'm from Michigan, so I'm not even from here.
I'm from but I lived in California for 15 years, and it's like we moved from there. We didn't afford shit in California. Our rent was $5,000 a month. Like, how do you for a 900 square foot house?
No,
That's right.
It's gorgeous, but like they can have it. I'll see it when I visit. You know,
Like maybe like I've never been. The only place I've ever been to in California is LAX, and that was on our way back from our honeymoon. And so I've been to California technically, but I mean I may go there one day to check out the sites. I don't think you could pay me enough. Just for all the bullshit you got to deal
I
with.
spent a weekend there because I won tickets to go see U2 at Rose Bowl, and I didn't. We went to the concert for 2 minutes and left.
Really?
Well, I was afraid that if I didn't scan the ticket, they would like make me pay for it. Like I don't know why. I was just like, we got to go ahead and scan the ticket so they think we went there, so they don't make us pay for the hotels.
Yeah, sure, totally.
It was like, oh, we just took it as a trip to LA, so it was like
Totally.
we went to like
It's a nice place. LA is not my favorite. I lived in Northern California. I lived in LA for a minute. It's a little. It's like Nashville without everyone being nice, you know? Like
exactly, yeah.
So, but Northern California is chill. Yeah, just smoke weed and go to the ocean.
Yeah, I've heard that the northern part of the state's a lot better.
Yeah, it is.
So
I mean, that's a big difference, I guess. Is that weed's not legal here yet?
That's true, but that doesn't mean I don't get it.
Well, no, I mean I know you can get it.
I mean, it's not legal here, but you know what's fascinating about Nashville is the billboards everywhere where they're trying to push Delta 8 or Delta 9.
Oh, yeah.
Well, my stepsons, they're and it's fine. I don't have a problem with it. I've never smoked anything, but I do believe it should be legalized. But I told my stepsons like you have to realize until it's legal,
it's still illegal.
Like, oh well, I mean they don't even really like cite you for it anymore and all this other stuff. It's like, hey, like, you're gonna get the one cop one day who might. Right? So you have to realize until it's legal, it's not. So be careful with it and everything else. So I do believe it should be legalized.
I agree.
But I also told him, I said, Tennessee will probably be the last state to do so. The rate that it's going, Tennessee.
I'm scared to drive around. It's taking me back to when I was a kid in Iowa. My child, like, shaking on the way home.
So you alluded to the fact that there's new music being worked on. So I mean, what state of progress is that?
We're literally in the studio right now. Where guitars are almost done, so drums are done, guitars are almost done. And on this album, we really want to make a statement because we're pretty sick as a collective. Me and Naveen and Mark and Devin are sick of how overproduced and overcompressed metal production has become.
A lot of people are sharing that perspective more and more.
Absolutely. So we're putting our money where our mouths are, and we're just we're just trying to sound like a real band. We're not trying to sound like a perfect, all of the characters taken out of our recordings. A lot of it sounds like 90s-ish. Actually, when Sliegel and his friend were over the other day, they were like, damn, this song sounds like Typo Negative. It's wild. So we're going there. I'm really excited.
Nice.
Yeah, I just started tracking on Monday. So.
Okay, so all right, so the music's almost done. Getting ready to start the focus. So I mean, April now, so end of 25, beginning of 26, maybe.
We'll put out a song before the end of the year, and then the album will come out next year.
Nice, because it's good to know because we're already in April and we're already kind of dreading December. Having to weed through everything that we're
for an end of year show,
and then everything that's already starting to be announced for 26. So knowing that the new Metalheads is coming out, all right, on the top rope in 26 already.
Yeah, I told him last year when we were just looking at some of the bands that were talking about putting out stuff this year. I said we might change our end of the year to a top 20 or something.
I know.
Yeah, it's getting really.
I can't narrow it down to 10.
I feel like a lot of stuff that comes out at the beginning of the year always gets forgotten.
It does.
That's the one thing we try to make sure that we don't have recency bias at the end.
Yeah.
Everything on my top 10 is from November and December.
Right. I think that even on the biggest lists that I see, I'm like, there's a bit of recency
Yeah, so we try to make sure we do the best we can.
And then number one album one year was from like
February.
February.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
so our number one album was from February that year. So,
I love that.
So, and then another thing that we hate is like all the other outlets kind of do their end of the year in November, and it's like, it's a whole other month.
No, I know. So it's like if you're putting something out in December, you have no fucking chance at all.
And then like they was like doing the EPs, and then Nonpoint put something out like right before Christmas Day, and they're like, oh, well, you just missed out on that one. So it's like,
It's interesting how the industry hasn't it's starting to slowly change along with releases and how everyone's putting stuff out, but it hasn't really shifted to maybe put year-end lists out in January, which is kind of when I think they should probably.
right. Well, Cheney, I think we're getting flags. I think you got to move to the next one. But we appreciate your time, and
You're just getting your day started, so we don't want to be the one that gets you behind.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah,
Definitely looking forward to new stuff. And absolutely. Get this sign real quick, too, if you don't mind. Of course.
Oh, you want to do your phone?
Thank you.
Read right here. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Yeah, you too.
Nice. Chili crab from MDOs.
Working on new music. Vocal tracking starts Monday. That's going to be cool.
All right, gang. That was our last one before we're going to take a little break here. Then we come back with a new broadcast because they don't let me do so many hours here, so I can't do a full day on one broadcast. So we're probably going to end this one and then keep back in with is it Bob? Yeah, Bob's Shoot Party. Yep. Round two. If you missed it a couple years ago, we talked to Bob. Yeah, 2.0. So we got a couple other things we're going to ask him about this time. So come back with us. Just kind of watch the socials and get the new link and follow along with the rest of the day. So appreciate you guys sticking with us, man. I see a few people have been on here for a pretty good bit, so we appreciate you guys hanging out with us and listening to some of the news and some of the bands and coming up with new stuff and everything. That's kind of what we're here for, is to push new music. So.
Yep. So stick around. We'll be back for round two.
Yep, we'll be back for round two. See you in a few.
So when you say station, where